Yeah, right, that's the start now. So, no intros because fucking pros. So, I can't talk about my job, so we can go more to Street Fighter if you want, or whatever. Unless you got
I
something you want
might
to talk about.
I might ask you about your preferences for pie.
I don't eat many pies. Probably steak
Well, we
pie.
can talk about that. We could,
Steak
I
pie
or
is really
just
good.
the cuisine you've got up in whatever section of Scotland you're in, because I forgot.
Probably about northeast-ish, more Middle East.
Northeastish.
Yeah, like we're not like right at the top, but like getting there. Because like Aberdeen,
All right.
Aberdeen's like before you get to the high, yeah, probably about Middle East, I'd say. Not the Middle East.
Oh, you live in the Middle East,
I live in the Middle East.
Alistair?
Yeah, I live. Yeah, I have to avoid regular balance from America and other sects of terrorists.
Wait. Oh,
That's just
but
the Irish.
wait. Let me see how far we can take this. So you live in the Middle East, and you hate and try to avoid drones in your daily life, right?
Yeah, of course. No, who fucking likes drones? The kind of people who use them are douchebags. Yeah, don't like drones. Knife crime's pretty prominent here, you know, just people coming at you with machetes. Have you seen the one meme where it's like actually footage from like the start of an ISIS beheaded video, where he's got like the guy on his knees with a bag over his head and he's holding a machete, and it's just they changed the subtitles so it's him going, and before our beheading, we would like to thank our sponsor Raid Shadow Legends. It's
Okay,
good.
that's really dark, but it's that's pretty fucking funny.
It's good, yeah. And I mean, with how much Rage sponsors everything,
Yeah.
they'd sponsor an ISIS. Let's be honest. If capitalists could, they would sponsor an ISIS beheading.
I mean, if they wouldn't possibly be in legal trouble and it would just be generating like negative PR and clicks, yeah, they totally would.
Oh, that's what I'm saying is, yeah, if they could, they would.
Yeah, they totally would.
I mean, which game was it? There was this one game that was trying to advertise by itself by offering to pay for, I think it was tombstones, but they had to put like the game on it, like the logo of the game. What fucking game was that? I'm blanking on everything. I just remember that dev also offered to pay speeding tickets on the same day of the release of one of their driving games. I want to say it was a Burnout game, but don't quote me on that. Let me think. I'm gonna look this up. Okay, game dev pays. I don't. This is just my endless knowledge. Oh, great, it's not telling me to. I put game developers paying speeding tickets. Yeah, I can't seem to find this. I swear this happened. Ah, fuck. Yeah, I've no clue what I'm talking about, and I've just completely gone on this tangent. Was it Acclaim?
Acclaim as what?
The developer.
Of what? Which game again?
I don't even remember what they made. Yeah, okay, yeah, Burnout 2 Point of Impact, they offered to reimburse any driver in the United Kingdom who received a speeding ticket. And it was cancelled. Yeah, here.
It's a hell of a.
Here, I found it. I found
It's a hell of a
I found
promotion.
what I was talking about. I found okay, so they did like these like marketing things. So here's what's on the Wikipedia page. One example was a promise that a US $10,000 prize would be awarded to UK parents who would name their baby Turok to promote the release of Turok Evolution. Another attempt was to buy advertising space on actual tombstones for Shadow Man 2 Second Coven, I think it's pronounced. It was a claim. So that's what I was talking about. Was they literally wanted to pay for tombstones, to have their game marketed on it. Like that's capitalism at work, baby. Let's see the reviews for this game. It's a 7 out of 10 game. You know, you can pay to have your relatives have a 7 out of 10 game on their tombstone forever. Doesn't that sound like a good deal? The worst part is you know there are some people who would fucking do this.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's people that tattoo like the worst, the worst possible shit on their bodies. There are people who have gotten tattoos for promotions and dares. So, like, yeah, totally. It's
I mean, I've seen some absolutely wank tattoos. So, I think the worst tattoos I see are like the people who get like Disney stuff on them. Like, really? There was a
but I mean, Disney fanatics are gonna fanatic, you know, like.
So you see, when my family went to Florida last year, right? There was a guy on the flight there and back who had the Universal Studios logo on his like calf. He also had like a bunch of Disney stuff. I think it was the genie from Aladdin he had, which if you're gonna choose a Disney character, that's kind of based. I will give him that. Robin Williams was quite based. I'm pretty sure they mentioned Evangelion in one of his movies. I'm not really into Evangelion. I think it's kind of boring, but like, I'll still respect that. But like he's based, but still don't get Disney stuff tattooed on you. But like the Universal Studios one was like the worst, where it's like you literally got a company's logo on you. You're like branded cattle.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like not even the character anymore, right?
No, it's you know the globe that they have as their logo. It was that, which is sick. Just like, you can like the theme park. It's a pretty neat theme park, but I wouldn't get it tattooed on me. I couldn't get. I'm not a tattoo person in general. I think most tattoos look kind of lame. I'm not gonna lie. The only two that I've been like people have been able to convince me that's cool is like the Yakuza ones. Those are pretty sick. Wouldn't recommend getting one, however,
because they do the traditional style thing that is painful as fuck and takes like
that
5 sessions each are like 6 hours long.
Well, that, and you'd probably never be able to go to Japan again because you'd have a big issue of having a giant Yakuza tattoo on your back.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where there's a lot of laws you already run afoul of just by having like non-Yakuza tattoos.
Yeah, I'm aware there's like a big stigma in Japan about that.
Yeah. The funny thing though is, like, if you find a bathhouse that'll let you in if you do have a tattoo, then it's the same bathhouse that all the local Yakuza go to, so it's a colorful crowd.
Alright. I'll be honest, I don't know too much about the Yakuza like in real life. I played Yakuza 0. I need to finish that game, but I quite like it. But that's about my knowledge. That, and apparently Antonio Inoki had some connections with them, which I don't care. And Antonio Inoki seemed just like a good dude, so I don't care. Massive chin though, enormous.
Oh yeah, dude. Inoki, yeah. His chin is like bizarre Habsburg level chin.
I also love how he's kind of seen as like a hero in North Korea. That's really funny.
Is he?
Yeah. So in the really early 90s. The biggest wrestling show of all time happened in North Korea over 2 nights, because this was when Inoki was in office, and because it came out apparently he had some connections with the Yakuza. I don't know that much. It's alleged. That's all I'm gonna say. Inoki's estate, please don't sue me. But
yeah, apparently some connections like that, and his re-election was not looking good. So he needed something big to try help him. So his idea was to improve relations between North Korea and Japan by having the world's biggest wrestling event in North Korea. So what happened was that New Japan, they made a deal with WCW from the States to go and do that show there. And well, a big issue they had in there was that all the wrestlers were American or Japanese, and the North Koreans from a young age are taught to hate the Americans and to hate the Japanese. So they didn't know who to cheer for. The only like two matches they apparently cared about was the one where it was, I can't remember who it was, but the two really giant guys, because no one in North Korea had ever seen anyone that big before, because they're all fucking starving to death. And the last match, which was Inoki's match with, I want to say it was Ric Flair. And the thing is, the guy who trained Inoki, whose name I am blanking on right now, and I always blank on it when I tell the story, was ethnically North Korean. He left North Korea when he was very young to go to Japan. But because he was like a really successful wrestler in Japan and beat a lot of Japanese wrestlers while being ethnically North Korean, or just Korean in general, well, they see themselves as a different ethnicity, I'm assuming. I'll say ethnically North Korean. What ended up happening was that this guy is actually seen as like a hero in North Korea, and because he taught Inoki was seen as like, that was the guy they cheered for. He was the hero in the situation against the villain Ric Flair, because he was taught by this North Korean hero, which is fucking weird. It's a crazy story. And to this day, it is still the highest attended wrestling event of all time, both nights. No one is ever going to beat it. So when we talk about the biggest wrestling events, we don't say the highest attended event. We say the highest paid attended event. Because no one paid to go to this North Korean show, and it was mandatory, and you would be killed if you didn't go. So it's kind of hard to beat that when the crowd had guns aimed at them to go. So no one's ever going to beat it, because I think the biggest stadium in the world is in North Korea. Just it never gets used, because who the fuck is going to tour to go to North Korea?
Yeah.
I know they once had a poll for where Justin Bieber was going to go, and it ended up being North Korea because of 4chan trolling. They didn't send Justin Bieber to North Korea. And most people don't go to North Korea because most people aren't fucking idiots. Don't go to North Korea. I think there's still an American guy in a prison camp there because he tried stealing something. Don't go to North Korea. One of the wrestlers flat just nearly got murdered when he was there. Just bad idea. Though all I'll say is that this whole event did not help Inoki get re-elected. In fact, no one in Japan really cared, which is unfortunate for him, but it also didn't help WCW because they streamed it on pay-per-view and it didn't really help them either. It's also just a weird show to watch because besides those two matches I said, they don't cheer at all because North Koreans have never seen pro wrestling before. So, one, they all think it's completely real because, you know, they've never had that one guy who tells you, don't you know it's fake? And yeah, it's just not a concept there, and they are flat just completely racist to both races that are wrestling in this event. So it's like, what the fuck are they meant to do? And it's like you can put North Korean wrestlers on the show because there are no North Korean wrestlers. This is the first and I think last time wrestling has ever been in North Korea. What do you do then? But yeah, it's a weird thing that Inoki of all people is a hero in North Korea. I don't know if they still talk about him, but he at least was at that time. It's a weird place. North Korea is one of those places where I would say I tell people, oh, I'd be really interested to visit there. Never would. You couldn't fucking pay me to go to North Korea. There's a few countries in this world that you couldn't pay me to go to. China being one of them, despite the fact your brother lives there. you couldn't pay me to go to China. If the CCP get overthrown, which there's hope, I would love to visit China. It's an interesting
The CCP is not going to get overthrown. There might be internal changes in like what faction internal to the CCP gets control, but I think that the system it's pretty goddamn entrenched.
I have hope they will. I mean, it was looking pretty bad earlier this year. Like
yeah. I mean, I would say when the CCP just completely stops functioning, like if just at all levels they just went like Russia kleptocracy, right? Then yeah, there's a good chance that people would like fucking revolt and overthrow them.
I still think there's a possibility because they're pretty fucking incompetent, all things considered. Like, if you just even briefly look into their whole COVID policy, it's just fucking, it's an embarrassment how bad it was. And I mean, the people did revolt to an extent. Like they did. I mean, they were going out, and there was public demonstrations against their COVID policy.
Yeah. But the thing I'll say about the CCP is that, like, this isn't necessarily just propaganda, and maybe it's more of a thing in the sticks, but there are large parts of the bureaucracy that are sort of technocratic.
Yeah.
So they actually are sort of like, well, how do we get the city functioning better, right? As opposed to like, how can I get rich?
Yeah.
And so if that operates to enough of a degree that people don't feel like they just need to just kill everybody above them, then people will put up with a lot of shit in China. They'll put up with a lot of shit.
They will, but I mean, are you familiar at all with the YouTuber Lai Wai?
No.
So he's a Westerner who lived in China for a while, I don't think it was pre-CCP, but like pre all this bullshit happening. Like, it was like that wee point in China where it wasn't ridiculously authoritarian, and like post Tiananmen Square. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, so he lived in China like then. His wife is Chinese, and they both left China after when all the stuff started going down. And the guy basically now dedicates his life to exposing human rights abuses in China. That's what his whole channel is about. And he seems to be pretty optimistic that the CCP is like, or at least like the current people in there, like it's not gonna last. And I mean, if you just look at a lot of China in general, they appear to be the term I've seen get used is paper dragon, because I mean, everyone seems to think that they're going to be the next superpower. No, they won't. Not a chance. Their population, like everywhere, is declining, but they're built in these massive megacities that are currently like half full, and their population in decline. And who the fuck is going to be in there? It's just costing them money for no reason. Simply, they just like if your population's on decline, you are not going to be able to become a mega power. And it's like their population it's getting older and older, so that military that they keep showing off, shrinking every year. So while they claim that they're just getting bigger and bigger, in reality they're getting smaller and smaller. They're not a superpower now, and they won't be in the future. In fact, their chances of becoming a superpower are going to keep getting smaller and smaller. Also, I think India has a better chance of becoming a superpower, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'll or what?
I mean, the thing
India's doing well on education, birth rates, and tech. They've got a separate set of. I guess everybody's got a separate set of issues.
Their big issue appears is just people like brain drain, people leaving. That's their huge issue. I know a few Indian guys. I actually Like, I think they should stay in their own country. Like, we don't need 10 million Indians coming to the UK. But, like, when we're in our separate countries, the Indians are quite cool, actually. Like, when it comes to those kinds of, like, that whole area, I'm not particularly fond of most of those countries. Especially some of the Stan ones. I'm not a fan of a lot of their policies on stuff like women. In like quite a lot of India, I think are pretty cool. Surprisingly, there are. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the band Bloodywood by any chance.
Oh yeah, Bloodywood. Yeah.
They're pretty
yeah.
sick. And just in general, like, they just seem like I mean, they could shit in the street a bit less, but like I'm actually all right with those people. Like no issues with the Indians at all, and I don't get why some people seethe over them. But yeah, like I'd say they're probably got a better chance of becoming a superpower if they can keep all their well-educated people inside the country, and that might be a challenge because, well, simply like the West are just offering bigger opportunities, better pay, better conditions.
Yeah.
Like we're offering all this stuff, but if enough educated people stay in India and improve it, I think it could easily become a superpower. They certainly have the population for it, and the land mass, and the education.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Like yeah, that would be my bet. If you made me put money right now on who's going to be the next superpower, it's going to be India. And honestly, I'm not particularly fond of the Indian government, but the people are alright. The government seem to really like blacking out the internet in areas, though. I think
the government is gearing up to turn India into a Hindu ethno state, which,
I mean, to be fair, I'm not saying ethno state good, but just based on, as I said, I know some Indian people, and it seems like the tension between the Hindus and Muslims, especially on, say, the border of Pakistan, is very bad. Apparently, how a lot of the Pakistanis who come to the country are not the most respectful, shall we say. And I'm not saying ethno state good at all. I'm just saying based on some of the stories I've been told and just how it sounds, how bad the conflict and tension can be, it might be a good idea for everyone if the groups are separated, because quite simply it's not going to work out. I know everyone likes to have this idea that, oh, eventually after enough generations everyone will just get along. It doesn't sound like it's going to happen here. I don't think they're ever going to get along, so I think for the good of everyone it might be better to just separate them out. That's just my take on it, just based on people I've talked to. I am by no means an expert on the topic. I have done a very, very light amount of reading, but just based on what I've been told by one side, it sounds, that's at least my take off it, just based on that. But again,
yeah, well, and it does,
not an expert.
It does seem like the tensions are pretty bad. So
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily going to agree with the ethno state purge solution, but recognizing that there is an issue, and it's not in a good situation,
and it seems like one that is going to be a difficult one to solve. Without, I don't know what their solution is. I don't know if they're planning on genociding people or deportation or something. I don't know what they're planning on doing when it comes to making an ethno state. If it's genocide, yeah, let's maybe not. I don't like Pakistan at all. I would go as far as saying I'm pretty not fond of most people from Pakistan. I mean, I have a friend who is Pakistani, and she's about as far away from the general public of Pakistan as you can get when it comes to values. And it's more or less just because I don't like the Middle East, and I do not like Islam at all. I think they're both pretty awful. which I don't understand why progressives are so defensive over Islam. It's a weird one to me. I mean, I don't know if you're like that, but like I've unironically had people like rush to defend like Islamist treatment of women when it's like, really, come on, man, like. Are we actually gonna have to debate if like child sex life is bad? I think that's
This is one where it's one of those things where it seems like there's a massive gap between like Muslims that are sort of, how do I put this, modern, like in sync with, you know, liberal democratic values, and, you know, in certain areas of the world, Muslims who are definitely not in that sort of cultural headspace.
I mean, even the ones who are more modern, like, all I'll say is it creates an issue where the ones who get really modern, they're not Muslims. I don't know if you know who idubbz is, but his wife is Muslim and his wife is definitely not Muslim. She says she is, but like, I'm afraid whoring yourself out on the internet, you're not a Muslim then. Like, you can say you are, but you're not in reality. And I know that's a really trending topic to talk about idubbz and his wife. That's all you're getting from me. Because I don't think Ander has any clue who idubbz is.
Yeah, I stay away from anybody whose name sounds like idubbz.
All you need to know was he was like an edgy YouTuber in like 2016. Made some good content.
Yeah, I saw that Vosh covered an apology video he did.
So yeah, he made some like edgy content. Some of it was quite good actually. I grew up watching some of those videos, and like over the last few years, he's just become more and more cucked. His wife started an OnlyFans, then he stopped making like content altogether. Really, there's a lot to break down. It's quite clear that his wife is the dominant one in the relationship, and it's not good for him. I mean, he took her last name. I think it's pretty clear who wears the pants in a relationship if the man's taking the last name.
That's...
And yeah, it just... Yeah, he made a video. He's quite clearly scared of Sam Hyde. Like, he's blatantly terrified of Sam. Because he went out to film a documentary on Sam, and it became painfully clear that he was trying to punk Sam. He was trying to do a gotcha and try and make him look bad. And you're not going to be able to do that to Sam Hyde. Because what happened was Sam and his guys wrote like a whole document of like, here's what we're going to do to fuck with idubbz. So they just did loads of weird stuff to... so they rented out a dentist's office and made it look like it was their like location for filming videos, and they just put weird shit everywhere and just said some... How would I explain it? Like, they paid a girl to look like a crackhead and pretend to be Sam's girlfriend. They just had a pile of dead hornets just lying around. They were acting like they're starting a rap career, and what they were like this whole, they were writing that one of them was gonna try rap the line "swag like idubbz," and it was just stuff like this. It was a huge document of just how are we going to fuck with him, and he was not very happy that this happened, because it appears he tried to focus quite a bit of the documentary on Sam's crackhead girlfriend. So now when they do like an interview near the end, Sam just drops that, oh yeah, I paid her. idubbz was not, you can see in the doc just on his face, he's pissed. And at this point he's now actually just terrified of Sam. He kicked the guy off his boxing card for going to train with Sam. And then after all of this controversy happened after he did the boxing fight, he released a video apologizing for. He had an old series called Content Cop, where it would basically be him taking someone in the YouTube sphere who he thinks has done some shit things and makes shit content, and would basically just break down all these things they've done. And the most infamous one, I'd say, is there's a female YouTuber called, I'm gonna butcher this name right now, Tana Mongiu, I think it's pronounced. I butchered that. And
Okay.
idubbz went to make the point that because he had used the N-word in videos before, and Tana had tweeted at him saying something like that he deserved to get his legs broken and lose all his subscribers for saying it. There's old clips of her saying it in a way more racist way than he did. So he went to make the point that basically it's all okay or it's not okay, and context matters a bit more. So she had like a fan meet and greet, and he went all the way there to get a photo with her, and like when they were going to take the photo, he said, say, and then the word, I don't think I need to say which one, and it was basically just to prove her hypocrisy, and it's a pretty infamous video. It's pretty funny, I won't lie. And he was basically like apologizing for like all these videos that are classic videos. They're classics. I think they're given a little bit much credit, but they're classic videos nonetheless. And it's literally just a man destroying his entire legacy in front of everyone. It's kind of just sad, and it's pretty clear the wife is mentally ill as all hell, and is a severe narcissist, and is influencing him poorly. If you need an idea how bad she is, her own family members have been going to Sam Hyde and talking shit about her.
Jesus. Okay, well,
If
doesn't
that
sound like a good situation then.
No, if that just gives you an idea in general. I'm going to assume Vosh was on idubbz side.
Well, considering, yeah, it was mostly about people giving idubbz, like, shit for idubbz. What, like, having had made content that they considered bad, even though he was apologizing for having made that content? So it was sort of like...
The issue is he's publicly just insulted the people who liked that content.
That is true.
It's pretty clear he's trying to just get rid of his old audience and try to get a new one. But I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of Vosh.
Dude, you don't need to be a fan of Vosh. I mean, I
think he just seems like a bad person in general. He seemed way too happy that Steven Crowder was abusing his wife.
Yeah. I mean...
and I don't think
yeah, probably.
We don't need to talk about how much he likes to talk about the age of consent. I've seen way too many clips of him talking about it for my liking. I think one is too many.
Okay, I didn't. Maybe I just don't watch Vosh that much.
He seems to
I wasn't aware it was a recurring.
He seems to really like debating that the age of consent should be lower. He even had what's his name, Mr. Girl, on his stream, and he ended up getting really pissed because Mr. Girl kept trying to make. He was doing this whole bit where, so Mr. Girl is a troll, and he made a review. Do you remember when the Netflix film Cuties came out? The one that was like.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
The one, yeah.
So Mr. Girl made a review where he was basically talking about how hot the girls were, because he's a troll, and loads of like YouTube commentators like thought he was being serious and took the bait, and he ended up going on Vosh's stream and was like trying to talk about how the age of consent should be lower, making fun of Vosh, and Vosh ended up getting really pissed and kicked him off the stream because he was just getting made fun of. I'd also like to add, Mr. Girl made he took the beat from Criminal by Eminem and made his own version called Pedophile, where literally all the lyrics are about how he likes to have sex with children, and it's so fucked up, but it's like the lyrics are actually good.
Sounds like he's all in on that edgy humor.
Yeah, one sec. I'll see if I can. I'll get the link to this. It's actually really funny to me. He is just it got deleted. It's surprisingly good. All right, here it is. He literally called I'm a
No, wait, we're still not like recording. Or did we start recording?
Yeah, we've been recording.
Oh, okay. I was like sitting here like, man, this is a pretty big prelude. Okay. I don't know if this. Should I like listen to this now and you're gonna put in like an interlude or something?
Go ahead if you want.
Might just check it out, but
Nonetheless, those are like my two main issues with Bosch. I don't think anyone should sound excited when it turns out their political enemies are abusing their wife. Like, that's just kind of wrong to me.
yeah, no, it is, and I mean it's one of those problems of just like, yeah, it doesn't really matter what side of the aisle somebody's on when they're like cheering on the foulness of the other side because it can be used as like a weaponized thing for like swinging your own agenda, right? Even though it's making the world worse, right? Rejoicing at that sort of thing is
I think there's two types of political commentator. There's the stupid and at times just just liars, the kind you just manipulate shit for their own side. And then there's the ones who just don't leave their house. Vosh comes off as as both. I'd say like Ben Shapiro. He's one of those. He's one of the liars, the manipulators. Because he seems like he leaves his house. Steven Crowder, liar, manipulator. Those guys who make videos about how the Little Mermaid is destroying Western civilization don't leave their house. Vosh seems like both. He seems like he lies and he manipulates shit, but he also just looks like he doesn't leave his fucking house.
well, and he's got the weird half in, half out on the edgy humor.
Yeah, he seems to be trying to play both sides with that.
I mean, that said, I do, yeah, I occasionally watch his stuff just for, you know, what's happening in the dramasphere that I don't actually care to look up myself. But, meh.
Yeah, I'll admit, I do not really follow the YouTube drama or anything. Only reason I'm aware of the idubbz stuff is because I used to watch it when I was younger. So it's like, it's watching this guy I used to watch when I was like 12 just completely have this fall from grace, and it's like, oh, that's just sad. I mean, I was about to say I've seen worse. That's a lie, I haven't. This is about as bad as it gets. Because, I mean, I'm trying to think what the last good idubbz video was. I can't.
I mean, it sounds like he's just completely tilted away from that direction, so...
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because there are people who I still do like, who are kind of in his sphere, who I would prefer to get out of that sphere for his own good. Specifically Nathan Barnett. Like, just stay away from the guy, man. Like, you have a really good web series, and you've made 2 really good short films. Just stay away from idubbz, man. Though at the same time, he's like, his career is fucking dead. Like,
idubbz, you mean?
no, Nathan Barnett. I'll just fly out just say that. His career is beyond dead. I mean, the whole dad ARG he made is pretty successful, but like his main channel is just like, look, I'll pull it up for you. So he used to be way more popular. So his channel has
Wait. Okay, sorry. Just wanted to double check that it gave me a message about a USB device deconnecting. I wanted to make sure my mic was still on.
Yeah, so Nathan Burnett has 469,000 subscribers. His most recent video got 3,000.6 views.
Ugh.
And his channel was made in 2006. Like, that's how long this guy's been going.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like the healthiest numbers.
Yeah, so basically he has like this ARG thing called Dad, where he's playing this character who's like a parody of like how would I describe it, like middle class American fathers. And it's like it gets into like this weird sci-fi shit. There's 2 albums. It's weird. Those are pretty good albums, might I add. That's doing pretty well for him, but like the main channel's just dead, and it's a shame because he's got. It wasn't that long ago he released his second short film. Can't be. Yeah. So a year ago he released his second short film, Milford, which has 46,000 views, and it should have way more. Because he did that, and then he had 4 years ago he made a short film called Neutral, that was really good as well. Both of those are pure Kino. The cinematography is beautiful in them, really underrated. And yeah, his career's just dead. He's fell off. And it's a shame because I like the guy. Like, not everything he makes is perfect, but when he hits, he hits.
Important thing, isn't it? Right? Like, you know, things don't need to be perfect, but they need to at least try to hit a level that's interesting.
Yeah, and he certainly does. It's just you only have so long. You know, you have so long on YouTube, and then that's it for you. Very few people stay on forever. You know, you get like 3-4 years at most. There's a few people here and there who can hold on forever, but most people can't. And he couldn't. And that's it for him, really. I mean, I've seen worse fall-offs. Rusty Cage had a really hard fall off, though he's got a new album.
Rusty Cage, did you say?
Yeah. I think I sent you one of his videos. The guy who was making the guillotine.
Oh, yeah. You showed me that, yeah.
Yeah. So, 1.6 million subscribers. His, let's see, the most recent video for the guillotine got 320,000 views. Which isn't amazing. It's better than what he was getting before, where he was getting about 100k.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Honestly, the issue was he spent ages writing and drawing a comic book, which meant he wasn't working on music, so gotta write down what we're at right now. There. Yeah, so his music was like the thing people really liked, and then he spent time like a year making a comic book, and now he's making the 5th album. You know, he'd release a single here and there, but like some of those singles are a little divisive when you talk to people. Specifically, Pack of Rats. Some people really hate that song. I don't get why. I think it's pretty good, but nonetheless, I'm excited for that 5th album. Though, honestly, unless you're able to tell me otherwise, there ain't that many albums coming out this year that I'm really excited for.
Yeah.
It seems like
I can understand that.
It seems like a bit of a dry year. There's a few big releases. Anthem released a new album that was really good.
Well, there you go.
Cattle Decap, their new album was fucking sick. And I'm still pissed I didn't get the pull the plug patch for it. It was in my fucking basket and I didn't buy it. I waited a day and it sold out. And I'm so pissed about that. It was in my fucking basket. That annoys me. But that was a really good album. I think Glory Hammer released an album today, and I did not care for the singles at all. And then there was the Metallica album no one listened to. Like, did you listen to it? Because I didn't.
No.
I don't know anyone who did. Like
Maybe we're all just too young. got those like 50-year-old Gen X dudes listening to it.
Bro, you ain't far off. You're what, a decade off from getting that? I mean,
that's I'm a decade off from that.
I mean, what bands were the big ones when you were growing up then?
Oh God, what, Green Day, no doubt.
Oh,
I mean, Metallica, obviously.
yeah. Fucking Green Day.
No, but that was the thing. Like, I got into Metallica on like Load, right? Which it's like, oh Jesus. Yeah, right. So I would say like I was slightly behind the times on Metallica, as far as like age-wise goes, right?
Load is like, I'm just gonna go out and say it, everything after Injustice for All is actually just not listenable at all.
Listen to Load. So there were a few songs I could enjoy, right? And then later I went on like, oh, okay, this album's garbage. Like, they actually had all their good stuff back then. But yeah, that was... When did I listen to Metallica? Like middle school? Yeah, and it was already past all of their good stuff, so...
Christ, like, just the difference though. I wasn't really listening to metal in like middle school age, but like so you take my guitar teacher for example, like he was not listening to Metallica when he was that age, and he's, I was it 5 years older than me. He's a wee bit older than me, so he's a child of the 2000s. So if I remember correctly, the two albums he had was, I want to say it was Slipknot's self-titled, which, shit, my ad. We do not agree on Slipknot, but they suck. And I want to say it was As Daylight Dies by Killswitch Engage, which is fucking awesome. That album is a jam. Love that album. So yeah, it's like Metallica fell off in the 2000s so hard. I mean, like, they fell off from a quality perspective after '89, but when it came to popularity in the 2000s, they fell off hard.
Yeah. Well, a big part of that was there was a lot of pushback on them leading the fight against Napster, and then that combined with the fact that they released Load, which wasn't good, and people were hoping the next would be good. Then they released Saint Anger, and it was like, oh, okay, never mind. It's just fucking never mind.
I mean, the Napster thing didn't hurt anyone who fucked with them, though. I mean, Dr. Dre was another one who really went after Napster, and Dr. Dre did fine. He quite infamously said the words, fuck Napster. But yeah, no, he's doing fine, and he fucked with Napster.
Well, no, but I just feel that, like, how'd I put this? I remember a lot of people who were, like, into metal feeling like really disappointed about, like, Metallica on that, right?
I can explain.
I didn't know many hip-hop heads that gave a shit about Dr. Dre's stance on Napster.
True, I can explain it quite easily, actually. The early thrash metal scene, which Metallica was a part of, quite a big thing of that was tape trading.
Exactly.
Which is basically what Napster was, just over the internet. Just to a wider scale, I guess. I've never used Napster, I'll be honest.
Dude, if you had used Napster, I would be very surprised.
But I don't think it existed after I was born, so.
Exactly, right? Like, it's...
I'm
I
sure.
think there might have been a service that bought the name, but like,
Let's see.
yeah.
I'll look it up right now. It's a website. Yeah. Napster exists. Okay, it's basically just Spotify.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just Spotify, but why would you? The only reason I could see someone wanting to use the Spotify version of Napster is just for the meme of, hey, I'm using Napster. That's the only reason you subscribe to that. It's just for the meme. And even then, their library's going to be worse. I mean, have you ever tried to use
Yeah, I feel that it's not enough of a meme. Like, if the people that
Yeah.
bought it named it Napster's Animated Corpse, NAC,
Yeah, that would
and
be
they're like,
funny.
yeah, it's a Spotify alternative that's Napster just Animated Corpse. Like, it's not Napster. Napster died, but you can enjoy Napster's Animated Corpse.
Yeah, that would be funny. But no, it's not worth it. I mean, it's the same price as Spotify. Just, it's probably going to have a worse library of music because
Yeah, probably.
what bands are going, hey, we need to get our stuff on Napster. So you're going to have basically no independent bands. And probably nothing from Japan or Korea because
Yeah.
they can't seem to get... have you ever tried to use Apple Music? Not Apple Music, Amazon Music.
Wait, what music?
Amazon, they have a Spotify alternative. Have you ever tried to use it?
Oh, I've heard about it. I've never tried to use it.
So apparently they have better audio quality, but the library of music fucking sucks. Like they are missing so many bands who are not from the West. And smaller bands.
Okay,
as well.
even Spotify feels pretty spotty for that for me. Like,
Oh, yeah.
but that's because I try to listen to a bunch of like 80s obscure Japanese like anime openings and endings and like city pop and stuff and like
Oh yeah, well that's the thing is right. It's like even like new bands who are popular in Japan, or at least popular to an extent, even they're hard to get on Amazon Music because quite simply, alright. As an example, have you heard of the band The Oral Cigarettes by any chance?
no.
I think they're Japanese off the top of my head.
Okay.
I don't know if I describe them as rock or like lightish metal. They're good. They actually make pretty good music. I think they're sitting on about 600,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Yeah, you're all cigarettes. Oh, they're on 1.2 million. And last time I checked, they're not on Amazon Music. If that gives you an idea, Japanese band hits 1.2 million, still ain't there. That's just like how few shits they give. And yeah, they're a band who are like currently going and are young. So even if you have a band like Anthem, for example, who released an album this year, they're not going to have it because all of them, I think, except the drummer, are old. It appears Japan just do not give a shit about streaming at all. And I mean, they do seem to.
I don't know many Japanese people that even use Spotify, unless they're like highly westernized people. You know what I mean?
So, do
like-
you guys still use CDs or?
That's a good question. Like, I know a lot of people just use YouTube for music when they're at home or whatever. I don't know if they buy MP3s off of stuff or CDs. Honestly,
I have a CD collection and I like CDs.
yeah, I'd say like CDs are probably more viable here than the West, but obviously it's not like as much as it used to be.
You say that, but I still can't get any CDs of Anthem besides their best, their like greatest hits that's in English that they sold over here to try get them Western appeal.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
What?
No, just let me see about that. I mean, like, cause let me put it this way: In Shibuya, there is still a profitable Tower Records.
Oh right, yeah, over here you get anything Anthem. No chance.
Like, Tower Records is a brand, as far as I'm
Yeah.
aware. Like, all the stores died in America over a decade ago.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Music stores are near dead here. You've got like HM.
Yeah, like vinyl is, having its hipster thing coming back, but like, give me a second. Anthem CD.
Here's the thing, though, right? You get some CDs.
Yeah, dude, I have here Crimson and Jet Black, Nucleus,
Yeah, so the Nucleus
Absolute World.
Oh, Absolute World is a banger. Yeah, no, so
Explosive, it's Ready to Ride, Engraved. Like, all of these are just up on Amazon for me. There's a 9 CD 30th anniversary Nexus Year's limited collector's box for like 160 pounds or something, 150 pounds. That's got 9 CDs plus a DVD.
So you see that 9 CD box set, right? You've got on your equivalent of Amazon. That's like how much one would cost to get imported here. Like, it's for
Wait. Like, have you tried getting the Japanese Amazon to ship to the UK?
I have not tried that. I've just checked if you go on eBay, you're paying a hefty amount. Let me get up Japanese Amazon.
Yeah. Go to amazon.co.jp and and you can switch the interface into English, right?
Alright. Yeah, got it here. Yeah, I've got it in English here. Yeah, alright.
Yeah, and then just search for Anthem CD.
Alright, I don't know what yen is in pounds, but
I think it's probably 200 yen to the pound or something.
Oh,
The
okay.
yen is weak.
yeah, the yen is weird. Okay, let's see. No from that. Add to cart.
174 yen to the pound. So if you see something,
So wait, how much is 5,000 yen then?
5,000 yen to GBP, 29.
Alright, I'll just go with that then. Receive the checkout. Let's take a look. It's not acknowledging my email.
Oh, if you're trying to log in,
Yeah.
you might need to create a new account. I have 2 accounts for Amazon because my American Amazon
I'll check out later.
account is not registered in Japanese Amazon
Alright.
space or whatever.
I'll check that later then. But yeah, if you're buying off eBay, you're paying at least £50 for a CD.
Yeah, so I suppose this is a log for our fans out in the audience. Now you know that you can go to amazon.co.jp, switch the interface to English, and buy whatever anime or snacks or other, obscure crud you want from Japan. Though obviously if you're buying anime directly from Japan, it might not have subtitles, so maybe be aware of that. But
yeah, I've seen people do that for Persona games when we're waiting for them to get sent over here. Is some guys will just learn Japanese and just play them. And
I mean, honestly, that is the based way
I
to play.
respect that, yeah. But
Yeah.
so yeah, you guys seem to have your CD prices higher than we have them over here. Over here, basically, it's unless the CD's rare, it's cheap. You can go into a store get Ascendancy by Trivium for £4.
Okay, I would say that there's a large used CD market here.
Yeah, we don't have that's dying here. The only thing,
Okay.
it's not as much in metal. In metal, it's still somewhat popular to have CDs. Because how am I gonna put this without sounding like a dickhead? Fans of, say, Anthem, or a bad example because they're not popular over here.
Oh wait, I forgot to mention. So Japan still has video rental stores, right?
Yeah, we don't have
Yeah, those places also rent out CDs.
That's actually not a terrible idea, but that's odd to me.
I think this is one of the reasons why there's probably a lot of people that still use home ripped MP3s.
Right, yeah. But
Probably.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, so like, okay, say you're a fan of Jungle Rock, the death metal band, right? You probably care a bit more about the music itself than, say, a Taylor Swift fan, in the way that I'm trying to sound like I'm trying to not sound like a dickhead. The thing is, Taylor Swift is like, I think she's the #1 stream musician on Spotify, right? If you say you're a Taylor Swift fan, that's like, it's like, yeah, cool. So are this many people. If you say your favorite musician is Jungle Rock, it's less of a it's a lesser known thing. So I think because Jungle Rock fan, like if you're you're a huge Jungle Rock fan, you tend to really like Jungle Rock, and that's why I think like that's why people then go and buy CDs, for example. Also because unless you know where to look, this version of, say, their album Slaughter of the Week on Spotify is fucking terrible. There's just loads of points where it just cuts for a second for no reason. And you have to click a tiny little bar at the bottom to get the good version. And most people don't know that. Yeah, so I think it's more or less just metal fans tend to care more about the music, shall I say. And that's why a lot of them tend to still buy CDs or vinyl.
Passionate fandom.
Yes, yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. They're very passionate. So that's why we tend to still buy CDs. I mean, that's why people buy patches, for example. I mean, how many Taylor Swift fans are you going to be seeing buying a Taylor Swift patch and then sewing it onto a denim vest? I say that. I know someone who has a patch that says Taylor Swift in like black metal font on their battle jacket, which is really funny. But so I mean, I my point's kind of just been invalidated by my mate, but nonetheless, if you're really into like very mainstream pop music, I don't really see them doing stuff like that as often.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So yeah, I think that's why CDs are so more popular in metal. But in general, CD prices are they're either dirt cheap or very expensive. And I mean, if you're on the local scene and you think a band's gonna get popular, buy their CDs. Well, one, help them out, and two, you can make a bank. Because, like, here's the thing. Okay, you take my guitar teacher's band, for example, right? They have an EP. They have one CD available, which is their EP Trinity, which has 3 songs on it. Now, let's say in 10 years' time, they're still playing music. They have a few albums under their belt now, and then they get popular out of nowhere. If you have that CD for Trinity, that thing's gonna be worth a lot of fucking money, because they're not gonna be making a 3-song EP. There's not gonna be still selling CDs of it at their shows in 10 years' time. So that first batch are going to be the only ones that exist, and they're going to be worth a lot. That's what happened to Gojira. Was their first album, Terra, whatever the fuck it's called, that wasn't as well known when they started to get really popular from Mars to Sirius about that point. And so that album was really hard to get for a while because you didn't have stuff like Spotify at the time. So you had, Napster got shut down, so you had LimeWire and that kind of thing, and that was about your only way to get that album. And even then, it's a small obscure album, so getting a hold of this album was really difficult for a while because it was something they released when they were way smaller. So before they did the re-release, it was worth a lot of money if you had a copy of it. So yeah, go buy CDs from your local bands. They're investments.
Yeah, they are.
They technically are. Most people won't care But I'm sure you'll be able to find some guy who'll be like, oh my god, you have this from when this band were, they only had 5 followers instead of 8. It's a collector as I am. And I mean, I say this, I doubt any metal band's ever going to go mainstream again. And before someone in the comments says that Sleep Token are not metal, they're not. They themselves call themselves rock. They're also shit. But yeah, metal's never going mainstream again, so don't expect to make millions or anything. But you know, you might be able to make a wee chunk of change on the side. However, can bands start just putting their CDs in those plastic cases again? They've been putting them into cardboard sleeves and it just doesn't protect the CD well at all. And they just look shit. Or Creator had a real... Their idea was really loved what they did with their CDs, right? So, yeah, it's like a hardcover book, and in the inside there's the wee metal bit, there's a wee plastic bit that holds the CD, and that's it. So if you put, like, if every band did this right, it would look like a bookshelf with all your CDs. That's sick. Like, yeah, just imagine all these different metal albums and it looks like a bookshelf. That's like just they're still CD sized when it comes to thickness, so it's not like taking up tons of space or anything. But it still looks like a
would be pretty cool, yeah.
That is really cool, and I think I've only seen 2 bands do it. I saw Creator did it with their most recent album, Hey Uber Alice, and I think Illstorm did it for their most recent album, 7th Run of a 7th Run. Those are the only 2 I've seen that have done it. And every band should do it. Like, if I'm the head of Nuclear Blast or something, first I'd fix the production on loads of their fucking albums, and then I'd change it so, hey, we're going to release all our CDs like this. That should be the standard, because that's fucking cool.
It would be pretty cool, I do have to admit.
Because I'm kind of sick of, like, these in-between steps, where, like, okay, so take Dream Theater's newest album, for example, and I'm not talking about those fucking demos they keep releasing at the rate of about 10 a month. I'm talking about the studio album, which was A View from the Top of the World, right? They still used plastic on the inside, but it's like this cardboard kind of shit that is what the album's like the plastic surrounded by, and it just feels cheap. And I paid £15 fucking for a CD because I wanted it on release. So if I'm paying that money for what at this point is a specialty product, I expect it to feel like a specialty product. So the cardboard cover book, that's cool. That feels like a specialty product. And it doesn't when you just have cardboard covered it and that's it. That feels like you cheaped out. And in reality, that's what they're doing. They're cheaping out. And I know people love to go, oh, but they're doing the cardboard for the environment. Not true. Not true. I've been told by multiple people in bands the reason they do it is because it's cheaper.
Yeah, that's probably true.
That's the reason. They can tell you that all they want is for the environment. They're fucking liars. It's cheaper, and that's why they do it. Because the whole hardcover book thing I'm suggesting, that probably would cost more to make than a CD. Like the plastic covers they used to do. However, something they could do that would be nice is if they just if you're gonna have to do the what's it called? The cardboard thing, you could at least include like paper for the front and the back if I wanted to put them in my own plastic case. That would be nice. That would be really. That should be the standard. At least to have that be available option. It's literally 2 pieces of paper. I'm sure it's not hard.
Yeah.
And you can't use the environment argument on that because it's paper.
Yeah.
That should be the standard. Don't fuck up how my collection looks. And I'm saying that as a Tool fan, and for some reason with every album they release, they come up with a new way to make your collection look like shit. Just look up the CD for 10,000 Days and you'll see what I mean. It it literally ruins every collection ever. And then for the album they released after that 13 years later, Fear Inoculum, it's like double the size of a CD case and it costs like £50. So they just fucked up your collection again. I honestly think Maynard is doing that on purpose just to fuck with everyone because he's an asshole. Like the odds that Maynard quite literally just went, you know what, it'd be really funny because prog fans especially like CDs and in fact most prog albums cost more than they should because prog fans, I mean like one of the few bands I've seen like properly hold their price from when they released the album is Tool. If you're buying secondhand, Tool albums can still be expensive. So yeah. I like the idea. I honestly believe Maynard said, make them look weird and not fit on the shelf, just to be a pain in the ass. Like that's not even being like, oh, what? Like instead of saying it's a conspiracy, I truly think he did this. I'm also, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to look over it and I can't really see. But actually, no, I don't have Lateralis. I'm pretty sure Lateralis' spine is literally just pitch black, so you can't even see what album it is. So,
you know, maybe I think there might be something to this theory of yours.
Because I mean, the man is a known troll. Tool have been releasing some like absolute garbage merch because they know people will buy it, so they just think, we'll just make this weird garbage that makes our fans look like fucking losers for having it. Like they released a skull with a fetus inside it. Like this was a thing you could buy, whether it was a human, like a fake human skull with the back of it being see-through and there's a fetus in it, and it was like £100, or it might be more actually. And it's quite clearly just Maynard trolling, and he knows because Tool fans are Tool fans, people will buy it, and people did buy it. And I mean, if you're a girl and you go into a guy's apartment and you see he has a skull with a fetus inside it, yeah. If I open this Tool CD wrong, and then it's like, yeah.
So for the people listening at home, I while we were talking, I was looking up Tool CD images on Google, and it gave me some kind of Onion article equivalent of somebody who opened a Tool CD wrong and got sent into the Hellraiser universe.
Honestly, that's how it feels when you open a CD for 10,000 Days, because it's like it is held in cardboard, like that, like cardboard, a kind of sleeve. I fucking hate pulling CDs out of sleeves. It just, I feel scared I'm gonna scratch it. It just doesn't feel right. And like it's actually like about that tense when I try to go listen to that album. But I don't know. I just think put some showmanship into your CD. Because I think like the art of the album cover is kind of dead at this point. Like, so many album covers are just kind of mid now. The only one I can think of recently, like we'll say last 2 years, like that I can think of that like looks really good, is the most recent Cat'll Do Cap. Like Terrorsight has a really sick album cover. I'll pull that up for you. But like, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head that's like really sick. Lucid Planet has some good ones, but Lucid Planet have not released an album since 2020. So in my 2 years, I said they don't fit. ILO have some good stuff, but they also have like 5,000 followers, so I'm not gonna count them. but like from big bands who have label backing, just the already album cover feels kind of dead. Because before it would be like that would be used to help further convey the themes or the message of your album, like Ashes of the Wake by Lamb of God, for example. Like that makes it painfully obvious what the message of it is, and Republicans still don't get it. But yeah, it just feels like now it's just put something there. Actually, I'm lying. I just remembered there is another really good one I liked. I'm sure Cross will be really happy that I mentioned Hacken's most recent album, Fauna.
Okay.
You wait till you see this album cover. It's so.
No, I do have to say, I think this might be like one of those illusions where the old stuff that sucks, people just
forget it.
So, like, oh, that's actually a pretty awesome album cover. Yeah, good on Fauna for that. Or good on Haken for that. But I was gonna say, like, there's a lot of garbage album covers in the past, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like it's always been dead.
Iron Maiden, Dance of Destiny?
Yeah, that was the one I was gonna say. Is Iron Maiden Dance of Death to me? Me was like how the fuck could somebody make this album cover and ship it?
It's so bad. Yeah, there. It's the most notorious for just being bad. They rush stuff though, so like Iron Maiden, they're known for just rushing their shit. I mean, look at which one was I can Brave New World. That was I knew the album cover, not the name of the album. Like Brave New World, the guy who mixed it had his name removed from it because he didn't want to be associated with it because they rushed him. Because he didn't finish.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize the mixing was that bad. I enjoy Brave New World, even though it's different from their other stuff.
I've never even listened to it, to be honest. I'm not an Iron Maiden person. But I'm just aware that I think it was one of them. I'm pretty sure it was Brave New World. The guy who mixed it didn't finish the job, so he just told him, take my name off this. Because there's like two main examples of that. It's that and Justice for All had the same thing. Though the guy who mixed ended up like telling the story afterwards. I'm blanking on his name, but like at the time he just said, take my name off this, because Lars made him turn the bass all the way down, and it kinda sounds shit. I won't lie. That might be my favourite Metallica album, but they should have had the bass in, and I know everyone says that, and people exaggerate how bad it is to an extent. Though also at the same time, I don't care about Metallica. That's about as bluntly as I can do it. I do not care about them at all. They released 4 good albums, and that's as far as I go. They're good albums. I don't know why they are considered like the GOAT by so many people. Like, they're good albums, and then they made shit for 3 decades. Because we're now the 2020s and did not release anything good this decade. And the decade before they didn't release anything good. And then in the 90s they didn't release anything good. Well, at least in the 2010s they did give us the I Am the Table. That was really funny.
On the Table?
So they did an album with Lou Reed called Lulu that was shit, might I add. And there's one song called The View, which just randomly includes James Hetfield shouting, I am the table. So if I remember correctly, the lyrics are literally, I am the table, I am the view, I am the table, I am the view, etc, etc.
Yeah.
And it's been taken on as like a meme in the wrestling community, because people will take clips of people like do table spots where the table doesn't break, and they put over I am the table. There's 2 songs that like get associated with that and the Kanye West song where he says, what is it, It's something about bringing something to the table. If I'm yeah, he calls himself the table, and like it's enough of a meme that Logan Paul, when he had a match with Roman Reigns last year, literally said "I am the table" in one of his promos. Like it's enough of a meme that
Yeah.
Logan Paul mentions it in a promo, which like you have to be a pretty big meme in wrestling to have that happen, and it happened. So like, that's the closest Metallica have been to being good in nearly 3.5 decades. If that gives you an idea how bad they've been. A one-off wrestling meme. That's a rough 3 decades for any band. And yet somehow, if you go on like any metal merch website, they're like one of the first bands that comes up. Them and Rammstein, for some reason, who have the most overpriced merch I've ever seen, and I'm pretty sure they just got accused for gang rape.
Wait, what?
I let me get this up. I cross-stamped me this. Let me get this up. Unless this was in a dream or something. Rammstein rape. I swear someone accused them of. Yeah, so apparently someone accused them of gang rape. Let me see if I can find this.
Holy shit.
Let me see if I can find this. Yeah, so someone's claiming that they did apparently what's his name? Till Lindemann, the front man. Apparently he spiked the fans' drink at a concert pre-party. They're claiming this. I don't know if it's true. I mean, the Decapitated was accused of gang rape and were actually arrested for it, and it turned out they were innocent. So I don't.
Okay, so this isn't like the band did it. This is like
the front man.
The concert, somebody did it.
No, they're being accused that the front man did it.
Okay.
So yeah, the accusation is that Till Lindemann, the front man for Rammstein, is being accused of having spiked the drink.
Well, fuck.
Okay, so
this is gonna be
so I've got I've got an article here from Germany. Apparently, fans are being handpicked to have sex with him at Rammstein concerts, and numerous women have come forward accusing him of abusing his power and of sexual assault.
Fuck, that ain't no good.
And I will, he's denying it, but and I will not be a hypocrite like Mosh and say, despite the fact I do not like Rammstein at all, the fact that he's done this is not good, and I am not going to celebrate it. Don't sexually assault women. And I stand by that towards musicians I like and musicians I don't like. I would prefer that none of them do it. If Till Lindemann has done it or not, I do not know. It is simply accusations at the moment. And as I said with the other example of Decapitated, they were innocent. Another example would be Vector's frontman. That one's a little more ambiguous if he did abuse his wife or not. It's quite clear with him that the wife was also very toxic, and yeah, we don't know what happened there. And I'd also like to add, fuck 70,000 tons of metal. Those guys are fucking retards. They so it's basically like a metal festival on a cruise ship. They booked Vector 1 year. Then people pointed out in the comments about how he's been accused of abusing his wife. Most of those people just read Vector, man abused his wife, and then that's all they got from it. And then they cancelled them off the thing like a day afterwards. And it's like, did you do no fucking research? Like, fuck 70,000 tons. Incompetently managed.
Huh.
And also, like, everyone is doing the metal cruise ship thing better than them. I saw Lamb of God have got one this year that looks really good.
Well, there you go.
Let me pull this up. I can't go on cruise ships anyway. I've been on one before and I got really sick.
Yeah, I've never been on one, but I imagine I might get a little bit, like, wheezy from the constant rocking.
I just felt really awful, so the idea of moshing on that, just no thanks.
Yeah, getting moshed on a cruise ship probably does seem like it would not be
Okay, I've
the
got
best.
I've got some of the set now that they had for the Lamb of God cruise. So we've got Lamb of God, who will be forming 2 sets, including Ashes of the Wake in its entirety. Fucking nice. Mastodon, who I love Mastodon, they're great. Testament, really good. Hatebreed, kinda mid. Guar, they're just fun. Municipal Waste, pretty good. I don't know Shadows Fall. Godford? Not familiar with them at all. Lacuna Coil, I've heard of them, but like not listened to them. And the only other one I'm seeing here that I've listened to is Gatecreeper, who are really good when they had. That's a really good lineup actually. I would love to go to that if I wasn't not able to go to cruises. Oh shit! I've just seen this. I just saw a poster for the tour Lamb of God did in North America in 2022, and god fucking damn, that's a lineup. So the lineup was Megadeth, Lamb of God, Trivium, and In Flames. God damn, that is fucking hell, that's big. And it was only in America, because the Americans get better shows than we do.
It is a big market.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, I'm not part of it either anymore.
I mean, you guys get some good stuff though. I mean, when Megadeth were playing over in Japan this year, they had Marty Friedman play with them.
Oh yeah, no, I man, I do need to pay better attention to like stuff like that so I can go to these tours.
Oh, you should have, man. I based on the fact that you had said that you and John were really big Megadeth fans, I assumed you knew. I would have mentioned otherwise.
Yeah, no, I didn't notice. My bad.
Yeah, because after he left Megadeth, Marty Friedman went to Japan and just did all solo albums there. Like I think he he lives in Japan still.
I'd believe it. He's definitely been on Japanese TV a bunch.
Yeah, so what ended up happening is I think they were playing, I want to say it was 2 or 3 shows in Japan when they were touring, and Marty Friedman just went, alright, screw it, I'll play with you guys. So I saw loads of the clip tour. It was like he was doing a solo from Tornado Souls and stuff. It was pretty sick.
Badass.
It was, yeah. It was. I'm seeing them in August, and I'm afraid I will not be seeing them with Marty Friedman playing. The current lineup they have is very good, to be fair, so I ain't complaining.
Yeah. No, wait. Just to check before we get into like you having 3 hours to edit. What are we at right now in terms of time?
Oh, you know I don't edit very much anyway.
Oh, okay.
1.5.
Oh, okay, that's not so bad.
Yeah, I mean I don't edit the audio anyway.
What'd you say?
I don't edit the audio anyway.
Oh yeah.
I literally just stick the general idea of where our things talking are, put some AI
and then just like call it a day.
Literally, yeah.
Isn't it nice to like have co-hosts that don't say things you need to search through the entire video?
Oh yeah. I mean the only issues I have is when someone comes in my fucking room and I just have to mark. But the thing is with that, right? I can mark down like the exact moment, and it's pretty easy to edit out. It's a little It's a little harder when someone gives a huge rant about transgenderism or something for like a half an hour. That's a little harder to cut around.
Yeah, that's.
Because apparently Homie was having to deal with that when he was having to edit their comeback episode for PCM. I'm not going to say who did it.
Oh, but somebody went on a rant that was not the content that...
Yeah. So I'm not going to say who did it. I think you know who did it. But
I can guess.
Yeah. If I'm not going to say who, but yeah, apparently they kept using the word wokies as well, and that had to get censored out as well.
Wokies? I haven't heard that one before.
I don't like the term woke. I prefer to use the term progressive. Woke literally means nothing. There's like a million different definitions you could give to it, so the word progressive tends to be more precise with what I'm trying to talk about. Like me, because me and Kim Membert both agree with that neither of us like. The only time you will ever hear me use the word woke is either mocking people who say it, or if it's like one of these things where it's like, oh, it just slips out because I'm just talking fast. Only two times you'll ever hear me use it. If I'm like talking somewhat slowly and I'm actually thinking about what I'm saying, you're not going to hear me say it.
Would you, maybe it wouldn't be hilarious, but considering the origins of the term, right?
I'm vaguely aware of it.
You would think... What'd you say?
I'm vaguely aware of the origins of the term. I'm assuming you're...
Well, just the idea of understanding, like, what sort of historical, socioeconomic stuff has led to the current situation, right?
Yeah.
The idea of opening your eyes to it. I like just the idea of some, like, 90s anti-CIA, NSA, FBI, like, I wish the Patriot Act never got instituted, like, conspiracy theorist. Using the term woke to mean aware of the government's bullshit, and just having a complete communication breakdown with the other guys in his libertarian, like, conversation.
That does it used to get used a lot more in a conspiracy theory circle for that meaning. Not anymore. That's being completely getting used by the progressives now, and I'll be honest, I'm fucking sick of hearing about the progressives. Like, they're just... Don't get me wrong, the conservatives are fucking insufferable as well, but I don't know what it is about... How would I explain it? I don't, like, align with either side, but a lot of the people who are progressive actually just come off as malicious, while a lot of the conservatives just come off as fucking stupid. That's just my experience. And I'm sure you will disagree with me on that to an extent, but yeah, that's my take on it, is that a lot of these people just come off as malicious. There's no other way of putting it. Like, I'm actually gonna go into some territory that could easily get spammed off YouTube, so I'm just gonna move away from there and just say, like, I don't know, like, I was talking to Crust about Zeal and Arbor, the band who makes black metal with slave songs, and it's just like, I'm fucking sick of hearing about slavery. Like, I get it was a bad thing and all, but the thing is, like, and I know it gets mentioned all the time, but it's true, every race was enslaved at some point. Like, that's just the fact of the matter is, was the North Atlantic slave trade maybe a little bigger in size and more recent? Sure, yes. But it's not like, it's not an experience exclusively that they have. And it feels weird that so many people associate the word slavery with black people. That almost comes off as racist.
I think one of the things, though, is that this particular form of chattel chattel slavery was different, and in certain ways a lot more dehumanizing than, like, even than other forms of it. Which isn't to say that other forms of slavery are, like, not bad. But there is sort of nuance to this, and it's one of those things where when you try to talk about nuance, then people on the left hate you and people on the right hate you, so it's kind of hard to do it.
All I'll say is I think Like some of the people who were just like fed to gladiators just to be fucking destroyed. I think they were pretty dehumanized.
Well, yeah, no, well, but you know, you can say that, and then anybody who goes into our prison system and gets killed for dumbass reasons, right, is dehumanized, and of course that's true. But and so like, yeah, slaves that were killed,
your terms
obviously died, right, and so that's bad.
Yeah.
But it's not like you could be a slave and own other slaves. You could be a slave and then earn your citizenship, and you wouldn't be treated as like of a people that were slaves, that somehow you were an exception. You'd just be a guy. Like the way that slavery and dehumanization were associated with a specific people in the case of that institution of slavery was different from things that happened before. And
my point more or less was just that the whole idea of people associating slavery only with black people is just like, that itself almost sounds racist to me.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's similar to, you know, how the Holocaust at this point is mostly associated with Jewish people, even though, you know, the Nazis did like to Holocaust, you know, or you know, round up a whole bunch of people to the camps, but they were also very, very much more focused on the genocide of the tribe of Israel than they were on like focused on killing socialists, right? Yeah. They killed socialists too. And if you were a socialist and you died, then obviously you died. Like, it doesn't get much worse than that. But yeah. So, I just
think it's weird how, like, you know, it's just the tragedies of being associated with one group when it's like, I've seen people associate genocide with the Jews when it's like, bro, we've had more recent genocides than the Holocaust. I want to talk about the Rwandan genocide, the Armenian genocide. Like, there are many genocides we can talk about, but more than just the Holocaust.
Yeah, well, and all of them are bad, you know.
But
like
no one seems to want to talk about the Armenian genocide, to be fair, but...
I mean, I'll talk about it. And hell, I'm a quarter Turkish.
Oh, no, I probably could do more reading about it, but at the same time, it just seems like no one wants to talk about it.
Not many people. Well, I mean, Armenians do, you know.
Yeah, they do, but like, how would I put it? Not a huge fan of the band System of a Down, but like, literally, like the whole cause of that band is that the main guy, Serge, I think his name is.
Yeah, Serge Tankian.
Yeah, he's Armenian, and literally his whole thing is people should be paying attention to this. I'll say this. One interview I saw that he did that I thought was really based was he was asked if he has any advice for young artists, and just with a smile on his face he just turns to the camera and just says, "Kill yourself." That was brilliant. I'll see if I can get that clip for you.
That's clip worthy.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, like, if we lived in a parallel universe where I was Irish and people didn't know about the potato famine, like, even though that happened way ways back, if I was a musician who was Irish in a world that didn't know about the potato famine, like, I'd still be talking about it.
Do you have any advice for young artists?
Kill yourself.
Alright, found a clip, and everyone's heard the audio of it now, but everyone just memes on the Irish now, though. And you know what? They kind of deserve it. That's the thing with the UK, is like, everyone from one country hates all the other countries in it, and we just meme on all the other countries.
Yeah, no, I do enjoy the memeing. I subscribe to Our Poland Ball. I like the I like the content. It always cracks me up with the Nordics slapping each other around the most, because it's like, whoa. Anyway, Yeah. No, I enjoy watching the European slap fights when it is just sort of like all in good memeing fun.
Though it usually just seems a little unfair when it comes to Sweden. They just get memed on the hardest.
Yeah, like I don't. Well, okay, I had Swedish friends in my like Japanese language school.
Okay, so as a user of poll, I can explain why the Swedish get memed on the hardest very, very easily.
Though I thought the Danish got memed on the hardest. Well, maybe that's in the Nordics.
They get memed on pretty hard, but
yeah,
I'm talking about from outside the Nordics, and even in somewhat inside. I can explain why Sweden on poll get memed on the hardest very easily.
Why?
Open borders, very, very high rape rate.
Yeah, okay, so that's what you're talking about. Because
Yeah.
I mean, for me at least, even before, like, not even including that, the Swedes get memed on for, like, being pretty blonde, dumb bisexuals or something.
No, the joke now is that, like, the joke is that they're all their kids are going to come out brown because their wives have been raped.
It's
a harsh joke, but it's also kind of true.
Slightly more, what's the word? A bit more toxicity in that memeing than the old memes that I was used to.
It's also kind of true, though. If you look at that rate, it's exceptionally high, and they don't seem to want to. That's a lie. The women don't seem to want to do anything for some reason. Because all I'll say is, being a European, I think I might have a slightly better understanding of how will I put this? How well certain groups get along with other groups in Europe. And there is one group who's coming here en masse who do not get along with the Europeans at all, and in fact quite a lot of their values are just like, oh yeah, let's just go rape women, and yeah, we probably shouldn't be letting that certain group in. I mean, we had many issues over here of grooming gangs from this specific religion who were just raping little girls, just no issue. The police knew it was happening, just let them off with it because don't want to appear racist. It's actually like a huge issue here in Europe that our police are scared of being called racist, so will not do anything. So we had a thing over here in the UK recently where it was some TikTok prankster, some wee black teenager. Online he went by the name Mizzy. I don't know if you heard about this at all. So he's this TikTok prankster, right? And when I say prankster, his idea of a prank was stealing old women's dogs, shit like that. Going up to young, like let's say 18-year-old girls, and asking them if they want to die. And because of the culture he is in London, the idea is that he knows you're thinking he has a knife, and you're thinking he has a knife because like the way he dresses, the way he talks. People of that culture, of that kind of area in London, they're carrying a knife, and he will fucking kill you because knife crime is really bad in London. I mean, that's where the whole meme comes from, the bit from Wolfenstein where you're stabbing a guy repeatedly. And it's just like average day in England. That's where it comes from. So shit like that, and it was like, I mean, he was a weak bastard, but like, they weren't doing anything. And then everything kicked off after he went inside some person's house, just like uninvited, and just started like sitting down on their couch and stuff. But and he like recorded this and uploaded it like, oh, it's a mad prank, bro. And the issue became that you can see in the video that there was a toddler in the house. And this guy who very well likely had a knife on him, was just walking to a house of a family who had a toddler. I'm sure you can see the issue that comes from that.
Yeah.
And this guy's now going on national TV saying, "Oh, the laws are too weak," and he got away with it. He's completely got away with it. I mean, after he had issues with the police where he got fined a little bit, he then went into his next mad prank, bro, where he went on a train and just broke into the room the train driver's in. Which you can imagine how that would be an issue. And he's still getting away with it.
Yeah.
And he's still getting away with it because our police are fucking incompetent. And quite simply, people of these specific minority races complain about stuff like white privilege in the UK, yet they themselves can basically get away with anything because the police are scared of being called racist. Which, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like a form of privilege. It's certainly not like America, like people like to make out America is all I'll say. It's a fucking disaster, and I think, like, honestly, what should happen is they should have an independent body, not politically biased, or at least trying to stay as little politically biased as possible. Just go through every police department, and if anyone is doing shit where they're letting people off for shit like this, if you're a Rotherham who police officer who's letting little girls get raped so for your own reputation, you should be fired immediately. And if you're doing something as bad as, say, the Rotherham example, you should be arrested. I'm sorry, but if you're a police officer and you're letting little girls get raped because you don't want to be called racist, you should be serving jail time for that. There's no way around it. You're a fucking monster if you're letting that happen.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
I find out that's happening, I'm going full fucking taxi driver on the people doing it. There is no justifiable explanation for that. Like, these people, as far as I'm concerned, don't deserve to live for doing that. And if your police are letting that off, I would almost go as far as a life sentence, just on the spot, if you're letting that happen, and we have evidence to prove they know it was happening. And yet, they should come in and they should go through every fucking department and make sure the shit ain't happening. And everyone who is involved in shit like this, either fired, or if it's as bad as I said, Rotherham, life sentence. If you let this happen, life sentence. And guess what? They're gonna fuck you up in prison. You'll probably get raped harder than the little girls in Rotherham were. But no, that's not gonna happen. Because we don't have a right-wing party in the UK, and we don't really have a left-wing one either. We just have these bland centrist ones who do nothing except simp for the World Economic Forum.
Though, I don't really have, evidence on this topic, so... for anybody listening, yeah, just, I'm not gonna make a stance on what the boots on the ground situation is, but
for anyone listening,
I think it is sort of. What'd you say?
For anyone listening, Johnny Rotten of the Sex Pistols called out that Jimmy Savile was a pedophile decades before it came out, and the BBC censored him, and he said that there are still pedophiles inside the BBC.
Yeah, that is true, and
it's probably Philip Schofield, but he's on ITV now.
But the one thing I was going to say is it does seem like it does seem like investigating and prosecuting people that sexually assault children should be a nonpartisan issue.
No,
it should be something that the left and the right can come together and just be like, we disagree on a lot of things. This is one thing we don't disagree on.
This is why I tend to lean towards the right. The right are fucking stupid. I don't really care about economics, so progressives and conservatives. I tend to lean towards the conservatives because even though I think they're fucking fools, they at least seem, how would I put this? They seem to have good intentions. And at least that side can go, I don't care what your culture is, raping kids is bad. Whereas I've unironically heard people who are like progressives in my day-to-day life defend Islam's treatment of women by going, but it's their culture, bro. And it's like, I don't give a fuck what their culture is.
Yeah, I would say, like
as far as I'm concerned,
when you're not... How would I put this? I've seen enough people defending Catholic child abusers and Baptist child abusers and Mormon child abusers because they're good people and they're being misrepresented by leftists with an agenda, quote unquote.
Yeah, but here's
that
here's the thing though: is the Catholic the Catholic child abuse thing is a problem, right? But it's a how do I put this? Overrepresented issue. People make it out like every priest is going to molest you, when in reality, the school teacher is. Well, if you go look at the statistics, it's a huge difference between the chance you have of a school teacher molesting you compared to a priest. But no one makes the joke about the school teacher, only the priest. Which I'm both are bad, absolutely both are bad. But the whole people thinking every priest is going to molest you, it's an overrepresented issue. It's still bad.
Well,
of course it's still bad, but all I'll say is it's slightly overrepresented.
Well, and my understanding of why it was made such a big issue is because of the institutional protection of the offenders as opposed to the number, though the number was also pretty bad, but it was more the fact that they were literally protecting them from prosecution, hiding the evidence, convincing the people not to say anything to anybody, and then moving the person to a different place so that they could do it again.
Oh, the UK swallowed that, but no one wants to talk about that for some reason.
Yeah. But either way, it's just one thing where I was saying, I was bringing this up to say, this is one where, there's people on the left that for some reason, are going to bat for people they shouldn't be going to, but it's one where the right has its own weird blind spot on protecting child, molesters of specific stripes, where you can't...
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
Of
It's
course,
not good.
yes. Of course. But I mean, the whole institutional protection. I mean, that's the UK in a nutshell, to be honest. I mean, it's in basically every layer of our society. It's there. I mean, you want the royal family. There's a lot of it in the royal family.
I mean, this is it does go down to, I think on the previous, PCM podcast that I was on, I sort of talked about how if I had, an ideal society, that one of the things that would be important is this sort of central civic virtues, right? Where there's a lot of stuff you can just believe what you want, do what you want, it's totally fine, whatever. But in order for society to function, you all have to sort of agree that society needs to function, right? And the government has certain roles it should perform. And one of them, I think, to me, is this idea of, the anti-corruption and, the law needs to function in a way where it does its thing to anybody if they commit the crime, right?
Yeah.
And I'd say nobody really disagrees with that on the surface, but then a lot of people disagree with it when it comes to them having the ability to get exempted from the system, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, I don't know, it just feels like hopefully that would be something where everybody could come together and...
Apparently not.
Yeah, it does feel like that's one of those things where things are falling apart at the seams in terms of maybe it's just the extra visibility and it was always this fucked up. I have no idea, but
Well, I think it's at least over here it's becoming more and more obvious by the day who are the ones doing this stuff. I mean, Prince Andrew was the pretty big one that people figured out. He did it.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. He did it. I'm assuming you don't know who Philip Schofield is.
I do not know who Philip Schofield is.
He's basically he was a TV present. He's a TV presenter, like doing those like morning shows over here. Pretty big name. Like most people over here will be able to tell you who he is. He's allegedly a pedophile, shall I say? Last year it came out that he like announced that he was gay, which might I add, I thought how the media handled that was a little weird. Like I get going full support for it, but at the same time he also abandoned his wife and kids, which not good at all.
Not good.
Yeah, I find I think the worst part was that his wife had to go out on TV and say that she completely supports him and all that, which it didn't seem like she did. I don't know. I just thought that was really weird and kind of disgusting that they made that happened. But either way, his brother is an arrested and charged pedophile. So I can say that Philip Schofield's brother is a pedophile. He has been charged for it. And Schofield, it's pretty clear he had a relationship with an intern who was on a show, who was much, much younger than him. As all the times we know that they were dating, he was just legal. But Schofield has known the guy since he was like 14. Which is weird. That's really weird. And the rumor has been for a while that he's a nonce. I've known like people have been saying that for a few years now. Something I've seen people were saying was that apparently some of this stuff was meant to come out last year when he came out as gay, but what happened was that he did the Kevin Spacey thing where he saw, hey, this might be coming out, so he just announced he was gay, and that's the bigger story. But like that, but also it's been because the thing is, there are people for some reason who will go out and bat for you if you have pedophile accusations. If you just say you're gay, people still defend Pat Patterson to this day, and he quite clearly was molesting ring boys. And there are people on Reddit to this day who will defend him, saying, oh no, it's just because he was gay that they were saying he was a pedo. No. They were saying he was a pedo because he was a pedo. So, I mean, Schofield's now got these fucking lunatics batting for him. But it's like, it's been an open secret for a while. Like, if you frequent, like, some of the more alternative sides of the internet, he's the one everyone will tell you is a pedophile. Like, if you get on the conversation of, say, the Johnny Rotten interview where he mentions there are other ones and Piers Morgan immediately moves him away from that topic because he doesn't want to get his bosses arrested. If you get on that topic on any like alternative sides of the internet with British politics, or just British culture in general, everyone will tell you it's him. He's the name I always hear. And it's looking more and more likely, yeah, it is him. And like, he's a pretty big presenter over here. So that's another big name that, yeah, he did it. And I highly doubt it's just him and Prince Andrew. There's absolutely more of them. I mean, all I'll say is that there are photos of Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell at the Queen's cabin. And it's quite clear. Well, you can see it's the same cabin.
Yeah, well, and this is one of those things where it does seem that in multiple different spheres, where people are able to put institutional protections around themselves, like, you know,
yeah,
there appears to be greater rates of exploiting and abusing children. Like Hollywood obviously is one of those ones with like freaking Bryan Singer and Kevin Spacey, Roman Polanski with like, you know, there's like a huge amount of the Hollywood, you know.
People no one cares about what Roman Polanski did in France for some reason.
Or yeah, I would say that that's one of those ones.
No
Hollywood closes ranks. A lot of Hollywood closes ranks around Roman Polanski to defend him.
Wasn't he in?
And
you know that Tarantino, the most recent one, the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Didn't someone play him in that?
I haven't watched it yet. I don't. Give me a second.
It was quite good. But like
I heard it was good. I should watch it.
It's quite it's slow. And it's quite different to a lot of his films. I liked it though. But like there was like a scene where it's what's her name, Margaret Robbie playing Sharon Tate, and she's at like this Hollywood party, and there's like loads of these like directors and actors from like the 60s being played by other actors, and a lot of them do look like them. I mean, I think if you have a knowledge of like late 60s Hollywood, you can appreciate the film more. I'm not particularly not fond, but I don't know much about that period of Hollywood. So a lot of these like references and stuff like this just goes right over my head because I'm way too young for this shit. Like that was 40 years before I was born. Well, 45 years before I was born. It's well beyond my time. But like I can still appreciate a lot of it. But yeah, if you're more familiar with that period of Hollywood, it's just a complete love letter to it.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of how. It's basically like if I don't know. I made a film that was like a love letter to like 2010s internet, like the shit I grew up with, right? Tarantino just grew up with these movies, so a lot of it's just like, oh, I really like Roman Polanski movies. I'll have him appear in this movie and all that. And I think people exaggerate to an extent the whole like the Tate murders, or like it's a background element that becomes more of a thing later on. But it's not a Charles Manson movie at all.
Yeah.
But no, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. Don't like how they portrayed Bruce Lee though. That annoyed me.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. Just know their portrayal of Bruce Lee isn't the most accurate thing in the world. He's just portrayed as an arrogant dickhead who's like not as good as. He's basically just portrayed as an arrogant dickhead who actually is just useless at fighting. And I like Bruce Lee, so I take a little bit of offense to that. I think he's much better than Jackie Chan. Like, those are like the two big like martial art movie stars. Bruce Lee's better. Just gonna go and say it. Jackie Chan just shills for China now.
He does.
Like that's what most of his movies are now. It's just CCP propaganda, which is like, that's unfortunate. The best martial arts movie I've seen, and this is gonna be like the obvious pick to tons of people. Have you seen The Raid?
Yes. The Raid was freaking amazing.
Oh, it's so good.
The Raid was wonderful.
I love that movie.
The Raid deserves it. The Raid that's Kino. That is Kino.
100%. I think it says a lot when like loads of like there are people over here who've like actually seen that movie, and it's what's from like Indonesia or something. When an Indonesian film like actually breaks into the West, you know it's fucking good.
Yeah.
Because like that's the thing, is like Japan and Korea are like, they have films that break through, but that's the thing, is like Japan especially is like, it's not that weird to watch Japanese or Korean films over here, to an extent.
Well, they've got a bit more of a developed film
Yeah.
industry than the rest of
Asia.
Well, China's definitely been throwing a bunch of money into their film industry, but it's still got like
Yeah. China's been throwing money everywhere.
growing pains.
Yeah, that's the issue. China's been throwing money everywhere, and it's just not been working. Because you can't just throw money like look at what happened with they tried to start a football league that they were trying to get like to go fully mainstream, because they had the Chinese Super League, so they were trying to buy players from over here and have them play in the Chinese Super League, and the issue is simply just there's no history. So like for example, like over here in Scotland, our football league is, I know you'll think it's soccer, it's football. I'm just gonna go and say that Americans are wrong, it's not soccer. But
We play hand egg.
but no, like the Scottish league of football is not very good when it comes to technical skill. We don't have many very good players. Our teams aren't very good either. Hell, the competition isn't very good because there are two teams who are better than everyone by a wide margin. But there's history there, there's rivalries, there's stuff like that. I mean, the old firm, Rangers versus Celtic, the two biggest teams as well. Like, you can get beat up in the street if you walk down the wrong part of Glasgow wearing a Rangers or a Celtic shirt. It's like that hostile. Though it's also essentially the modern equivalent of a holy war, because Rangers are Catholic and although Rangers are Protestant, Celtic are Catholic. I just fucked up really badly. The Chinese Super League did not have that, and that's the same thing with China trying to throw money at their film industry. It's like, they have movies. I've never seen a Chinese film, I'll just go and say that. But it's just like, they don't have a history of films that are at least somewhat popular in the West, are like accessible. Because I mean, Japanese cinema doing well over here, that's been at least the 90s, because you had Akira.
Yeah.
Korea, you could at least say. Furthest back I can think is 2003. Old Boy did pretty well over here, but you can even.
I would also. I was going to say actually Japan got an early start in recognition in the States, pretty much just on the back of mostly Akira Kurosawa, who,
of course,
is considered one of the great directors in like cinema ever, right?
Yeah, I saw Seven Samurai in a cinema, pure kino.
Oh, did you see it in a cinema? That's great.
Yeah, there's a local not local cinema. There's a cinema in Dundee called the DCA. They show like smaller films and they'll show older films, and they played all of Seven Samurai with like an intermission in the middle and everything. It was brilliant.
Yeah, and I have to check if it's if Kurosawa still holds this record, but at one point he had the record for being the youngest director ever and the oldest director ever, which is sort of like, dude,
Jesus Christ,
you can put down the camera now. But yeah, no, like he obviously was one of the things that really helped to set Japanese cinema as being, worthy of checking out. I know there were a couple of other. Well, obviously there's Miyazaki from Ghibli.
I was going to mention Ghibli.
Yeah, I'd say there's actually a bunch of auteurs from Japan.
Specifically, Spirited Away seems to be a really big hit over here.
Yeah, and then
mentions.
Yasujiro Ozu is not well known, but
I know
give me a second. Yeah, exactly, right? He's like, if you're studying cinematography, he pops up. He did like Tokyo Story, and I forget if he did like Fires on the Plane or something.
Is it bad to admit I have never seen a Ghibli film?
You know what? I'm not gonna shit on you, but you should.
I just don't watch that many movies, to be honest. At least recently, I just haven't been watching that many movies.
Go watch Princess Mononoke. If you consider yourself to be like a back to nature, like Return to Monkey dude, you should go watch the Princess Mononoke.
I have loads of stuff like stacking up. I bought, after I saw the Tarkovsky film Stalker, I bought, like, they have this box set of all his films, and I bought it, and I have only seen Stalker so far.
Okay, fair enough.
Look, the thing is, they're long and slow, and I want.
Yeah, no, Tarkovsky's long and slow. Yeah, that's.
And I'm waiting for like a chance where no one is in my house, because the issue is people are fucking shouting and stuff, and it just ruins the atmosphere of his movies.
Yeah, that would. Yeah.
Because like that was the issue I had with 2001: A Space Odyssey. Is I started watching that, and do you have a PS5 by any chance?
Yes.
So, which way do you have it? Do you have it sideways or long ways? Or like up?
I actually still have it in the box because I've just been playing games on the PC.
Fair enough. Put it, what's the word? Like the portrait way, like it's facing up.
Yeah.
Put it that way. it's unusable on its side. The
Oh, it just makes like noises or
oh,
something.
it's so much louder.
Okay.
I started watching Space Odyssey, and I got maybe 10 minutes in, and it was so loud. I was just like, "Fuck this!" I actually like had to. Well, one I took it off the stand, took it downstairs, opened the plates up, cleaned out the fans, put it back up, and you have to like actually screw it onto the base to get it to stay up sideways. And I had to do all this just. I just paused the movie 10 minutes in, and then just went back to it because I was just like, because that movie's really atmosphere based. Love its like music and stuff. I really like that movie, and it was just like it fucking ruins it if your fan is ridiculously loud.
Okay, I'll be careful around that.
Yeah, I can't use it on its side at this point. It's so fucking loud. It isn't to begin with. To begin with, it's not too bad. But the more you use it, the fan gets louder when it's on its side. I don't know why, but it just is. So yeah, don't use it on its side. But I do need to watch more of Tarkovsky's films because I really like Stalker. That movie's fucking weird, and it was not what I expected, but it was very good. But I've not watched that many movies recently. When I was buying more, I used to be buying way more Blu-rays. I was watching way more movies then. There's a company that make like their own specialty Blu-rays called Arrow Video. They do really good editions of like, they mostly just do violent movies. Violent and weird movies is like the kind of stuff they do. If you need an idea, I have 4 from them. I've got Old Boy, Battle Royale, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and Blade of the Immortal. 3 of those movies are very violent. That gives you an idea of the kind of stuff they do. I think they've got a version of RoboCop, stuff like that. Really good company for that. Their picture quality is incredible. So it was like when I was like buying stuff from them, I was watching more movies. Blade of the Immortal is really underrated, but it's got 2 really long fight scenes that are really good, and the rest of it's kind of shit. Probably worth a watch though. Basically, the whole thing is that it's about like a samurai who can't die. So you're gonna have.
Oh well, I've read the manga.
Oh right, have you?
Or
Okay.
parts of the manga. I never watched the movie, the live action movie, or I assume you're talking about anime.
No,
so maybe I should at some
live
point.
action movie.
Okay.
I did not read the manga.
The manga's solid. Even the drawing style is sort of really weird. So you should check it out if you get the chance.
Right. I watched the live action movie because it was like, oh, one samurai fights 100 guys. That sounds kind of sick. And it was. So like all the bits in between the fights kind of mid, but the fights are really good. So who cares? The other 3 movies were probably better though. Like Old Boy's like my second favorite movie ever made. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I kind of hate all the characters in it because I'm straight edge, but the movie itself is fucking Kino as all hell. And, Battle Royale is pure Kino. Like it has my favorite villain in any movie. Love that movie.
No, like, Battle Royale. Battle Royale. I never watched the sequel. I heard it was garbage, but the first one is solid fucking movie.
I know it's based on a manga. I do not want to read the manga because
it's based off of a novel, that was
okay.
also made into a manga.
So the thing is, right? So you know the character Kiriyama, right? The guy, like the gingerish hair, the guy who enters just because he could. He actually asked that guy. I know he has like a backstory and everything in the novel, and that just ruins him to me because what I love about him, in the movie is he barely does he say anything? I can't think of any lines he has in the movie. So he basically just doesn't speak. All you know about him is he chose to enter this. Like literally a death battle with teenagers, and he just said, yes, I want to do this, and went out his way to enter it, and he fucking murders everyone. Like, he gets like blinded at one point, and he's still fighting. And it's so good. It's like, why would you want to give a backstory to this? It's essentially the whole thing of giving Darth Vader the backstory. Why do you need to? He's perfect as he is. Like, honestly, like my interpretation of Battle Royale is that Kiriyama himself is literally just the embodiment of death. I mean, think about it. Everywhere he goes, with no mercy, no nothing, he just goes and kills everyone. And our main two, forgetting their names because they're all Japanese, and I'm not accustomed to Japanese names. The main two, the two who are like in love or whatever, they only get out of the death battle after they kill him. Hence, they are basically defeating death. That's just like my view of the movie, but like, why give him a backstory? Like, I get that he originally had the backstory, but removing the backstory was like a huge top tier decision.
Yeah, no, it definitely, it changes it into something larger.
Yeah.
In a way. Similar to how...
Well, it's kind of interesting that they make it larger by taking stuff away.
Yeah. And I feel like The Dark Knight does it not by taking away, but by obfuscating, where, like, Heath Ledger's Joker, you don't know what his backstory is. He gives you multiple backstories. You just have no idea if one of them or any of them are true. You just know it's not. There is no clear fucking answer on this character.
Yeah.
Because if there was just one clear backstory that made him broken, right, it would, in a way, like, remove power from the chaos of the character, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's why his Joker was better than Joaquin Phoenix's one.
Well, the Joaquin Phoenix is, like, how would I put this?
It's a different character.
I like it as an exploration of a concept, but he's not a good Joker.
Yeah. How would I describe that movie? The first two halves are kind of mid, and the third act's really good.
The third act of
Joker, yeah.
Wait, I actually didn't like it when I thought it was stupid as hell that the entire city was, like, rising up with him as a symbol. That didn't make sense to me.
They didn't. Think about it. He's fucking crazy, and he's an unreliable narrator.
Okay, so you're seeing this as like the American Psycho movie, like...
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, that makes perfect sense then.
So
never mind.
They might not have. They might have been... I mean, they were already having issues with, like, Thomas Wayne and all that. They might have been just writing about something completely different, and it had nothing to do with him. And his, like, narcissistic personality is just going, it's about me. Everything's about me.
Okay, if that was the plan and that was deliberate, then I just suck. So I'll take the L on this one, like in public view or whatever.
That's how I interpret it, at least.
Well, that actually fixes a lot of the issues that I had with the third act, so I think it's a good interpretation.
Well, yeah, I mean, you saw right at the end when he, like, just walks out the the psychiatric room. It's like, it's clearly not everything is happening as directly as he said it did. Yeah. And I mean, enough of it is like, enough of it is just pure fantasy that it's like that is, it doesn't make a lot of sense. That, I mean, look at American Psycho. Patrick Bateman shooting the police car once with a pistol and exploding. It's essentially like that, where it's like, nah, he's just some guy fantasizing about how he'd fucking murder everyone because he hates his life.
Yeah.
And like that, I mean, I'm sure we've all done that at some point, but
Yeah, it's just that. Just they've taken these like daydreams people have and just taken to the next level. That's at least how I view it. And that's not me saying I love Joker or anything. As I said, first two halves kind of mid, third act was really strong. I know they're making a sequel to it, and I don't know if I'm going to even watch it. But nonetheless, it was an improvement over the superhero slop we get every month. I take one Joker over 10 Avengers every day, any day. Though I would probably prefer one Raid over 10 Jokers.
No, I really did enjoy the Dredd movie, even though it was pretty much just the Raid with Judge Dredd.
Oh, it was just the Raid with Judge Dredd, but it was still good.
It was still good. Though, can I just take a moment to fanboy out about how I believe Carl Urban or his agent, probably both of them, like, have his career plan to be sci-fi fantasy nerd character actor of, like, the decade, of the century. Like, when you think about what he's played, right? Like, dude is Eomer in Lord of the Rings.
Bones in Star Trek.
Yeah, he's McCoy in Star Trek. He's Judge Dredd. He was in the Doom movie. He's like the head of the Necromongers in the Chronicles of Riddick movie. He was in a TV series of him teamed up with a cyborg cop. He's the head of the, anti-supers, like, vigilante squad in the place.
How good half of these things are is up for debate, but...
Well, I'd say most... Okay, the Doom movie, I'm not going to touch. I'm not even going to freaking touch the Doom movie, okay?
I can touch it. It's garbage. It's, one of the worst video game adaptations ever.
Yeah.
Whichever one should I just go right into? Those 3 Star Trek movies. You know what? The third one wasn't that bad. 1 and 2 are fucking dreadful. Let's see. The Boys.
One, I had a lot of problems with 2, and I haven't watched the third one.
The third one actually wasn't that bad.
Okay.
Like, that's the thing, is that it doesn't feel like old Star Trek, because they're never gonna make a movie like old Star Trek again with like these budgets and all that. It just won't.
Yeah.
But it felt like they were actually exploring besides the very first opening of the movie, and that's it.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like I'd like that then. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was decent. It's by no means an excellent movie, but it's decent, like a good 6 out of 10. It's worth a watch, at least, I'd say. Because I think the aspects of the cast of the movies quite good. I thought Simon Pegg was quite good as Scotty. That's also because I like Simon Pegg. Because, well...
Yeah, no, Simon Pegg's great.
Well, I'm British, mate, so you're kind of obligated to like him. I mean, Shaun of the Dead...
You have a license for that fanboying.
No, Shaun of the Dead is just like one of our classic movies at this point, so...
It is. Shaun of the Dead's amazing. I mean, the Cornetto trilogy...
Oh, yeah,
I
can look over right now and see my Blu-rays of all 3 of them.
Yeah, there you go. I do love, like, I hate to say this, I like Hot Fuzz more than I like Shaun of the Dead. Oh. I think Shaun of the Dead is more, like, influential in a lot of ways, but holy god, do I love Hot Fuzz.
This might be a hot take. Hot Fuzz is kind of overrated, and it's my least favorite of the 3.
Oh, really? Okay. Like, I'm not gonna fight anybody that doesn't like it as much as I do.
I thought it just went too long.
Okay. I can understand that.
Yeah, I think it's got some really good bits in it. But it's just like, I don't know, I just think it just went too long, and there was parts they probably could have cut, and it just doesn't flow as perfectly as Shaun of the Dead does.
Okay. Like, and I think I'm not as sensitive to that as a lot of other people are. Like, yeah. I watched Watchmen in the theaters, and it felt short.
Oh, I watched the director's cut Watchmen. No issue.
Yeah. Though, I mean, that one is like, if you read the comics before you watch the movie, it
Yes.
feels short.
Yeah,
if you don't, it feels long. Like,
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I watched Seven Samurai in the cinema, so it's like no issues here. But it's more or less just comedy movies probably shouldn't be hitting 2 hours.
yeah, it's definitely, you do want to keep it chopped like quicker than that.
Yeah, unless you've got the greatest comedy script I've ever fucking heard. I don't want to watch a 2-hour comedy movie. And that's my issue with it, is it just doesn't feel as tightly paced as Shaun of the Dead. Or even World's End. Like,
That makes sense.
I think World's End is pretty underrated. I actually like it's a pretty great movie, I'd say. It's just fun. The ending's kind of batshit, but I like batshit, so who cares?
Well, and it's not just batshit, but it's also poignant.
Yeah,
Like I really felt emotional at the end of World's End.
yeah. It's somehow batshit, but also actually makes you feel stuff.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a great movie, and I would rate it above Hot Fuzz just because, like, I think all of them are probably about as funny as each other. But the issue, my issue more or less, is just the pacing of Hot Fuzz is just not as good compared to the other two, in my opinion. Though Hot Fuzz does have some really good moments when he when he hits the old woman in the face. It's just bleeds everywhere. It's, like, that's such a dark moment, but it's so good. Or when they redo the jumping over the fence bit from Shaun of the Dead, and he does like all these backflips over it, and then Nick Frost goes to jump over it, and he just like runs straight into it. that gets me.
Yeah. It's got a lot of good bits.
Yeah, it has some really good bits.
And Timothy Dalton was wonderful in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, the whole just final fight in that movie is great. Also, I still can't believe that's the fucking that's the Hound from Game of Thrones in it. The guy,
Oh God, no, that's yeah.
the guy goes, he says Yarp. That's the
Yarp,
Yeah.
yarp.
Yeah, that's the Hound.
It's so wonderful. It's hilarious that, like, I always love it when I see an actor who's awesome, but then people didn't realize how awesome they were until, like, something, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you watch, do you know this old Harrison Ford movie where he investigates, like, a murder in a town of, like, Amish called Witness?
No.
Okay.
I know.
It was sort of
I
famous
know-
at the time.
I know his like famous movies, so like Star Wars, Indiana Jones. What's that one where he plays the president based on the Tom Clancy movies?
He doesn't play the president. He plays,
I thought he was the president. I don't. I've never.
No, he's Jack Ryan, I think.
I've never. seen
You're
his
thinking about the
movies.
one with the trailer where somebody says, like, you can't just see things in terms of black and white. He says, not black and white, right and wrong.
I've never seen these movies. I know. Like,
Clear and Present Danger, maybe?
I just know the Get Off My Plane.
Oh, yeah, Get Off My Plane. Oh, yeah, no, sorry, you're right. He does have that one. That's Air Force One.
Yeah. All these movies.
Was that a Tom Clancy one?
I don't know.
Might have been.
All these movies are blending together in my mind.
Anyway,
They're
the reason
all,
I
like,
brought up
kinda
Witness...
generic.
The reason I brought up Witness is there's a scene where he gets into Amishville, and there's, like, some punks from the local city, like, harassing, like, Amish dudes on their buggy. And one of them is like, hey man, you want some ice cream? And he just, like, rubs an vanilla ice cream cone in this Amish guy's face. Amish guy, who gets his face full of, like, ice cream, and as far as I remember doesn't even have a line in the film, is, Aragorn.
Oh,
It's
right. Viggo Mortensen.
it's Viggo Mortensen, and so, like, going back and watching that and going, wait, is that Viggo fucking Mortensen? Okay, he was in this movie as an extra.
Have you seen?
Ah.
Have you ever watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Oh God, I need to. It's getting long enough at this point that it feels like it'll be a pain to ever get through it.
Nah, it's worth it. So basically, there's a character called Mac, and it's a Halloween episode where he dresses up as Aragorn, but he quite that's what he's dressed as clearly. But he tells everyone he's dressed as Viggo Mortensen. Just an explanation. That's just immediately what I thought of. What's this one-off joke from It's Always Sunny? But yeah, no, there's quite a few actors like that. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the actor Michael Rooker. Underrated as all.
I have to double check though. Oh wait, my bad. He's not an extra in that film. The Viggo Mortensen. But let me check out Michael Rooker. I feel like I've heard of him.
Have you seen either the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, the first two? Or
Oh, he's the Zondu guy, maybe, or Yondu.
Yeah, he's
Is that
that
Michael
guy.
Rooker? Okay.
That's
Oh yeah,
where
he's
most-
been in like everything, dude.
Oh yeah, that's where
Guy's
most
been
people,
around.
That's where most people know him as Guardians of the Galaxy or The Walking Dead. But it's like,
Oh yeah.
have you ever seen the movie Mississippi Burning?
I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
It's quite good. It's basically about two FBI agents investigating and trying to take down the KKK in this town in rural America. And Michael Rooker plays one of the KKK guys in it. Willem Dafoe's in it. It's quite good.
Oh, Gene Hackman, Willem Dafoe, nice. Okay.
Yeah. Imagine them two trying to take down the KKK. That's the movie. That's a pretty good sell, I'd say.
Yeah, right. I think that's pretty good sell, as you say.
Basically, put Willem Dafoe in anything, and you're close to selling me. Just give me a even slightly decent premise.
But wait, do you mind if I ask you a question that's slightly off topic?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because it's not Kino. But have you ever seen videos of Red Alert 3, like Command & Conquer Red Alert 3's cutscenes?
Oh yeah, the I'm going to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
Race! Yeah. Well, and the way he looks up in the air when
Yeah.
he screams it is hilarious.
I've got that
Like,
in my Steam
and-
library.
What'd you say?
I've got it in my Steam library.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
the
So
DLC had
everybody,
Ric
I
Flair.
think, is aware of the Tim Curry parts of those
Yeah.
cutscenes,
Well, yeah,
right?
you had George Takei as the Japanese faction.
Yeah.
And oh god, who I want to say it was David Hasselhoff who was the president.
David Hasselhoff has a cameo at the end of the game.
Who was it?
But it's J.K. Simmons as the president of the
Oh my God,
United
it was,
States.
yeah.
And frickin' what's his face?
I know Ric Flair.
Price.
I know Ric Flair was in the DLC.
Oh yeah. And the guy who played the High Sparrow in Game of Thrones, whose name is not coming to me, he was in Brazil movie.
I have not seen Brazil.
You should.
I know it's good.
Jonathan Price. Jonathan Price was the head of like the Allied British side, right?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how much they freaking spent on those cutscenes.
Worth it.
Yeah, it's totally worth it. Though it does seem like in the 90s, like Wing Commander 4 had John Rhys Davies and like Mark Hamill in their FMV cutscenes, so
Yeah, but both.
I don't
of
know
them
if
kinda-
actors were just what'd you say?
Both of them are like the two who kind of do anything though.
I mean, Mark Hamill.
Isn't a
Yeah,
lot.
at the time he was starting to get into his voice acting. John Rhys Davies also was into TV stuff. So you're right. You're right.
The childhood cartoon I grew up with, regular show, Mark Hamill voices multiple characters in it. Like he just does.
Oh, dude,
anything.
Mark Hamill is an amazing voice actor
yeah,
who
excellent.
just
He's great. Yeah. Roleplayed skips in regular show. Like he's in a lot of stuff. So yeah, like I think it'd be a bit crazy if they got like Harrison Ford, but like the thing is, honestly, I like Mark Hamill more than Harrison Ford. But I'm surprised he's not a bigger actor than him. It's more or less just Harrison Ford.
stop doing live action stuff. Yeah.
Sure, well, that and just Harrison Ford's just he looks more like a movie star.
Yeah. Well, if I remember correctly, around Return of the Jedi, like he got like I think that Mark Hamill got into like a bad motorcycle accident.
That was
like,
Empire
affected...
Strikes Back.
Or was it Emperor? My bad.
That's
my
why.
bad.
That's why he had the scarring from the Wampa thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So, anyway, I heard that affected it, but
Probably, yeah.
I was gonna say you should actually wait. Maybe you shouldn't go watch Brazil. Brazil is depressing, but also absurd and weird. It's
I've heard it's very good. It's one of those things. I'll just get around to it at some point. But I need to play more Red Alert 3. But yeah, however much they paid for it, worth it. Just for that one scene where he looks at the Russian woman's ass and then looks at you, the player.
Yeah, no, it's a.
That is quite literally the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I mean,
it's the look he gives after he catches you looking. It is the funniest. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I mean, Tim Curry has multiple moments in his cutscenes where he just turns on this hilariously gleeful leer. That's one of them. Is like the looking at the ass. The looking at the ass is like comedic timing perfect. When he finds out he's the premier as well, is oh wait, you're just gonna put it in here? Okay, that's.
It's so good. It's the face he pulls.
So, I feel like you're gonna have to link this in the doobly-doo at the bottom of the video or whatever.
Okay, 1 sec. I'll write down the time. Okay, 2:46. Alright, there we go.
But for all our viewers at home, if you've managed to stick around this long, you should definitely check out the cutscenes for Command & Conquer Red Alert 3 if
Just
you haven't.
buy the
I
game.
showed them to my mom.
Buy the game and play it.
What'd you say?
Just buy the game and play it. I need to play more of it, but...
Yeah, you can.
Or
you can watch the cutscenes.
It's poorly balanced, but it's fun.
Yeah. And hilarious.
Yeah.
I forgot. They have Peter Stormare as the Soviet scientist as well.
Oh, right, yeah. I think I told my dad about this game once. It's not like he was going to play or anything, but like, yeah, it's just... Yeah, it's crazy the cast they got.
Yeah.
It's like every B-list celebrity they could get. Oh,
yeah, but like they really did nail that like B feel.
Oh wow, they got
like 200%.
They got every conservative's favorite actress, Gina Carano, as well. Apparently,
they did, and
that was
and
before she was huge as
anti-vaxxer Jenny McCarthy.
You say that,
yeah.
You're on, like it's a bad thing, yet you're on a podcast with an anti-vaxxer, so...
Oh, no. I was just saying in terms of political stances that are, like... It's not just one person that is politically active in the cheesecake side of this game.
What the fuck is... I see it. Malcolm McDowell is in the cast, and what the fuck has he been in?
Oh, he's in the DLC.
Yeah, I saw he's in the DLC. What the fuck has he been in?
He's the head of the EU.
No, I mean, like, what? I recognize.
Oh, he was Clockwork Orange. He's most famous for the Clockwork Orange.
I've never seen a Clockwork Orange. I've seen him in something, and I'm looking at the top 3 ones, and I've never seen any of them. What the fuck?
I mean, Clockwork Orange is the thing I know him that he's most famous for. There was one movie. Man, do you want to know a movie that was garbage but fascinating garbage?
What?
I believe it was called what the fuck, Apocalypse?
Oh, okay. I think I know where I know him from. He was in Metalocalypse. So yeah, he was in 37 episodes of Metalocalypse. That show is fucking brutal. Love it. The intro riff goes way harder than it ever should have.
Oh, Metalocalypse?
Yeah, I can't pronounce
the
it.
entire show is... The soundtrack is way better than it should be.
Yeah,
oh, but you're right. Yeah, Malcolm McDowell was...
Yeah, no, just... It's the bit, in the intro when like all of them come off Nathan Explosion's bike, and it just like goes full. We're gonna give you a seizure with how much flashing lights it is. That one section of the intro, the riff goes way harder than it ever should. For a TV intro, it's sick. Yeah. Put it on Spotify. Because they have there are Def Clock albums that you can listen to.
Yeah, no, I do on Spotify actually often. Like Thunder Horse, I think is a surprisingly good song, considering that the only words spoken during the entire song are either thunder or horse.
What I find weird though is that they do live shows for Def Clock, but it's like, so it's the creator of the show and stuff, like playing and singing the songs, right? But it's like, it's weird that Def Clock are a real band, they have real songs, but the members in the show are different to the members in real life. But they're the same band technically, and they play the same songs, but the members are different. It's weird. Like, and I get that it's kind of hard to play the characters you play in that you have in TV on live shows as well, but you think they try. It's just odd. I don't know, but either way. Also, I think finding someone who looks like Murderface might be really hard.
Yeah.
Or sounding
probably.
like him.
Yeah.
Just that, I fucking hate his voice so much.
It's I feel you there.
It's funny, but I hate it so much as well. It was the moment in the first episode when they go to the grocery store. It's the section where they're like having to go through his the food their shopping list, and he just shouts at some woman like, "Is there nuts in it?" And she has no clue what he's talking about, and he starts getting angry at her for not knowing what's on it. And it was like that moment I was realizing like, oh, I fucking hate this guy. No, like one of the best parts like that no one acknowledges is the fact when like on the Nathan shopping list it says like, oh, this many cups of what was it, flour or something, and he just picks up the flour, opens it, and just starts taking the cups in the shop. No one acknowledges that, but that's way funnier than anyone gives it credit for.
Yeah.
That's a good show. I like that.
Metalocalypse is a solid show.
I don't know if they're doing. I think I saw that they're doing one more movie for it to finish it because it got cancelled.
Yeah.
I hope so. That'll be cool. And if they do a cinema release, I get tickets for free. They won't though, because it's an Adult Swim movie. They could have Rick and Morty get a fucking movie, and they still would not release that shit in cinemas. So that show is basically dead now because one of the creators who voices Rick and Morty was not molesting, he was texting like young kids weird sex stuff. Because the entertainment industry. You know what was really weird about this text, and this is like morbidly funny?
What?
He was like texting them like he was the character Morty. Like,
wait, he was texting them weird erotic stuff as the character Morty?
Like how he was texting him, it sounded like he was in the character of Morty.
Oh, like he'd be like, "Oh gosh, wow, I don't know if we should."
That's like how he was texting them. He was like, he was literally like texting them like that. Like I think one of them was he was calling one of the kids like jailbait, and he was like texting them like how Morty speaks, which is that's not funny.
That's darkly hilarious. Like you shouldn't be able to laugh at it.
But it's so cringe. It's so unbelievably cringe that it, like him being a weird sex pervert and not the good kind somehow circles back around to being really funny. Which, yeah, it shouldn't be funny. To be clear, fuck Justin Roiland, terrible person. But that's just, it circles round to just being hilarious. Also just, yeah, cringe. You'd think if you have the amount of money Justin Roiland has, you'd be able to pay, like, for a coach to teach you how to speak to women. And to be clear, women, not kids, but still.
Yeah. I mean, granted, who the fuck knows, man? Maybe he was doing it because he thought it was funny. Like, or not talking to kids because he thought it was funny, but talking as if he was...
I was a pedophile for the jokes, man.
Yeah, no. I mean, that part, I'm not going to touch that part. What I mean is texting like he was Morty because he thought it was funny.
It's just cringe. There's no other word for it. It's just cringe, bro.
Oh yeah, no. Even if it's that, it's still cringe as fuck.
Yeah.
It makes it. I mean, either way, it's like somebody. I
mean, I can't say much. I've done cringe things because it's funny before. I mean, the name I used on the PCN podcast, Angus McFrasher. Have I ever explained to you my reasoning for using that name?
What was the what was the reasoning?
My girlfriend of the time fucking hated it. I suggested it, like I mentioned it to her, and she hated it. So I used it for that reason, and I would annoy her about it. Like if I was going to get like a reservation or something, I would tell her that I was going to get a reservation under the name Angus McFrasher. So when I had to go up to the fucking the front to say, hey, a reservation for McFrasher, like I didn't actually do it, but like I'd always tell her, I'm gonna do this, and
you should do it, man. You missed the chance while you were with her. Now you just have to do it. Like
I'm not gonna do it now, but no, it was like it was always just there to annoy her. Like that was that's why I got rid of the name as well. Was the joke's kind of over.
That's true.
But I just thought it was funny. It was literally just to fuck with someone. Because she hated that name. Like, she couldn't stand it. So, like, I'd also just tell her that she's Mrs. McFrasher. Which she hated. She hated that so much.
Yeah, I can imagine. If she didn't like the name Angus McThrasher, being told she's Mrs. McThrasher would be like...
Yeah, she did not like that. Yeah, I think that's like part of my issue is that like I can't date a girl without doing something to fuck with her. And it seems women don't seem to really appreciate being just fucked with on a daily basis.
I think you need to find somebody with a weird sense of humor.
Maybe. I don't know.
No, they exist, though. I am going to say that, you know.
Yeah.
Just at that point, you're going to have to deal with the fact that they're probably going to do the same thing back to you.
I mean, I get way worse. Like that, and when people aren't joking, so I think I could put up with a joke or two. I don't know. I mean, I think when it comes to dating, I'm sort of in a better position than most fucking people my age. Because...
Oh, what'd you say?
When it comes to dating, I think I'm in a better position than most people my age because the dating scene seems to be dead. Just dead. Mostly because it's just dominated by dating apps. Quite
I
literally.
gotta say, I don't think... Have you heard many success stories of people using... Or I want to say success stories, I don't mean... Like, obviously you can meet somebody, and you can obviously, like, have dinner or hook up or whatever. Well, and I guess I know some people who are adults that have had success on dating apps, but like, man, it's a slog to find the right person.
I can't.
Holy shit!
I can't think of one. I did see a Reddit post that I thought was interesting, where basically this woman, her brother was like in his 30s, and she was like, "Alright, I'm gonna come stay with you for a day or two. I'm gonna go through your dating app profile, make it better and all that, and I'll do some of your like first interactions with these girls just to help you out and show you what you should be saying." And after these like 2 days, it was like she was like actually like depressed because of how awful the experience was. Because I'm just gonna go out and say it, dating apps are way easier for women than they are for men. I'm just gonna be honest.
Your hit rate's a lot higher if you're a woman.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're a dude, it's just like screaming into the void.
Literally. I was literally, you asked if there was any success stories. I can't think of a single fucking one. But the issue is that's where everyone goes for this shit. You know what it is, right? Because stuff like Tinder have premium options. I think I've made this point before, but quite literally, it's capitalism trying to sell every basic fucking feature of our existence back to us, and at this point, they're selling the fucking water to us. And now and they don't even give us clean water, because we get fucked in the ass because we're paying huge taxes. And what happened? They don't even give us clean drinking water. That's too hard, apparently. So you can keep drinking your fucking tainted water while we get fucked. But it's not even just the water. You know, God's green earth, we don't get that. We have to pay for it. And even a concept like love, you gotta pay for it. That's a £10 premium every month. That's where we're at. And it's only getting worse from here. Wait till they start selling your fucking sight to your sight, your taste, your fucking senses. Wait till they start selling that to you.
Yeah,
I completely just lost the right. My private business.
But man, yeah, no, it's
Look at it this way, right? You get the privilege of dying before all this shit.
you know, that's true, right?
Yay, you get to die early.
There is like this, you know, I ask myself, like, is there going to be a part of like a time in my life where I'm like doing this calculus, and I go, well, I could like suffer out the remainder of my lifespan, or I could, like, you know, just think about what's the biggest problem I can find and like kamikaze it, right? Like, just be like, yeah, you know, there's not really much point of you know, sticking around much longer.
Well, you've truly become Japanese then.
But you know, just, is there going to be a point where the calculus flips for me? I'm just like, you know, it's time to throw it all away and try to like burn out in some sort of explosion of glory that can hopefully change things for the young people. I don't know if that calculus is ever going to flip. It might not. I might just, you know, sit around in my little shack or whatever, vacuum packing my Dojin collection and like burying it for future aliens to find as evidence of human civilization.
Yeah, I think I just hate my country. It's like, you know.
I think it's okay to hate elements of your country's government.
Oh, it's not just the government; it's the people.
I think it's okay to hate elements of the people.
Well, it's like, I was working today, right? What were my co-workers talking about? they're drinking stories. And it's like, honestly, the severe lack of anyone who isn't drinking way more than they should, who's around my age, is, it's like trying to find a unicorn. It's that bad here. And yeah, I don't know. I also just have the issue of like most of my hobbies women don't really like to engage with. Because like all this I like is like, I mean I started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so it's like I like violence and aggressive music and Warhammer and shit like that, and it's like women don't really fuck with any of this shit. Like, don't get me wrong, they do exist. I'm not saying female metalheads don't exist, but way too many of them claim to be metalheads and then listen to fucking Slipknot, who aren't metal. That's not to say they don't exist.
Oh,
They do, and I'm not validating them or whatever.
that and it's one of those things where it's it's nice to have someone who shares the exact same hobbies as you, but it's not necessary, right?
Oh, of course not. But at the same time, if someone's idea of what am I going to, my point more or less was just where to meet people.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Shared hobbies are a good way of meeting people, though. You gotta not do the shared hobby as like a dating pool exercise, because that just skeeves people out.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It's hard. It's hard, right? It's hard.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
No, my point more or less was just I don't want to date someone whose idea of a fun night is getting ridiculously drunk and spending way too much money on drinks. Then feeling like shit the next morning because guess what? You drank tons and got drunk and did something retarded. Like I don't
say
I don't get the fun in that.
Yeah, and you I think you should probably stick to your guns on that one. Because I don't think it's necessary.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, and any conservative who watches this is gonna be seething when I say this. Alcohol is one of the few things the Muslims got right. You know the whole thing about Saudi Arabia where it's like alcohol is basically just illegal there. Based. Because their whole take on it in general is that alcohol is illegal because lots of products have alcohol in it. Like fucking cleaning products have alcohol in it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, their take on it is that if it's something that intoxicates you, then it's haram. Based.
Well, don't forget that in the early parts of the 20th century, the progressives were pro eugenics and anti alcohol to the point of banning it from entire countries.
And what happened?
What'd you say?
And what happened?
Yeah, it didn't really work out too well. At least in the States.
What I'd say more or less is just like alcohol should be legal. I'm pro legalization of marijuana, but you should take it. That's my take on it, is that you should have the self-strength to choose, no, I'm not going to take it. If you want to, go ahead. You want to waste your life away, intoxicate yourself every Saturday because you're a boring fucking person and intoxication is the only way you can have fun? Go ahead. I don't give a shit. I don't want anything to do with you. Go ahead, have fun. I don't care. But you should be the ideal society by the end should be that they're completely legal, but companies just aren't even making them because it's not a financially viable thing to do. That's like the idea, is that everyone has self-strength and discipline to go, no, let's not. Same goes for coffee.
coffee's another thing I don't drink for straight edge reasons of I don't take caffeine.
I think that is what? Probably healthier in the long run, honestly. So,
yeah, I mean,
good for you.
I know people who are fucking addicted to coffee at this point, or Monster or whatever.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
it's one of the addictions that I guess our society definitely does not frown upon.
Yeah, I just hate the double standard around things. Where, you know, you take a hit of cocaine, and you're the devil, but you drink tons of alcohol and get completely drunk, and you're fine. Nothing's wrong here. Just don't drive. And it's a weird double standard, especially because everyone in our parliament is taking cocaine. Cocaine usage in London is so bad they found traces of it in the water.
Okay, that's pretty bad. That's was not expecting
I mean,
that level.
there's tons of stuff in the water. To be fair, the birth control in the water is, that's not good. As I said, we pay tons in taxes and we don't even get clean drinking water.
Yeah, I can see why you would feel disillusioned with your country at that point.
Well, that's most of the West, to be honest. But I mean, quite simply, like, I thought I'd just admit to you, I'm trying to work the ideal amount of hours that I don't have to pay any taxes. And I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna work. So I think it's only like £190 I make in a week. I have to pay something, so I'm literally gonna do like 185. I'm gonna like try get around yeah, just below. Well, let me think. This week, what have I made? About 140.
Oh, I mean,
I made about 140 this week. So if I work about this kind of thing again, get about 150. I don't have to pay taxes, and I don't want to pay taxes, because quite simply, in this country, it's literally just going into the pockets of the government, and they just take and buy a camper van. Which, me saying that is specific enough that you can go, oh, they actually did. Because they did. They literally used their supporters' money that they donated to buy a fucking camper van.
I can see why you don't want to pay taxes.
Yes, I'm not gonna. I mean, quite literally, like, every single person I know who's on stuff like benefits are just choosing not to work because they're lazy. That like quite literally, like, that's what most of our benefit system goes towards. Lazy people who refuse to work.
It's one of the things that is constantly brought up as an issue with benefit systems is if you get benefits while you're not working, but if you start working, the benefits go away. It does incentivize you, in a way, not to work, right?
Well, I mean, I have a mate whose family's... I mean, his dad ain't around, and his mum's just working, and they don't have a lot of money, right? And I know people whose family just survive, again, single mother, who lives off benefits, just simply because she doesn't want to work, because she's a fucking nutcase. So she just goes, I'm just not gonna work, and lives off benefits, and lives more comfortably than my mate whose mum actually does work. And that's where most of our taxes are going. To fucking piss takers who get to live comfortably because they just go, I can't be bothered working.
I can see why you wouldn't want to buy into a system where that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, and then people are going, why are everyone with basic intelligence leaving Scotland? I can't believe it. Like, the average IQ in this country is actually below the average. The average is 100 for a human being. I think we're at 98. It might be lower, actually. It's low, nonetheless. Like, we are literally below subhuman. We're at the subhuman level because we're below 100. And the reason, quite simply, is because everyone with an education leaves. I mean, I want to leave. I know tons of people whose plan is, I'm going to go to university because it's free here, and then I'm just going to leave immediately.
Yeah, I think that the question is, where would you want to go?
Probably just going to go to America, to be honest. It's like,
Okay. Just, I do warn you.
oh, don't get me wrong, it has its issues, don't get me wrong at all.
yeah, just be aware.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was like people go like, "Oh, well, America has this issue," and I can immediately go to them. Yeah, well, look, here's my country, and it's a million times worse here. And they go, "Oh, fair enough. Go ahead." I was talking to homie about it, and he was going like, "Oh yeah, if you say something offensive, they'll get kicked at your job, right?" And I just said to him immediately, yeah, but in Scotland, if I say something offensive, I can serve 7 years in prison. And he just went, oh, fair enough. Go ahead.
Yeah. You can get done the dankula, so to speak.
Yeah. That's not even the laws in Scotland are stricter than England. He got put under the English laws.
Oh, okay.
So the one he got put under was the Communication Act of 2003. So in England, if you say something in person, you're fine. If you say something if you do something over the internet, then that's an issue. But it has to be posted on the internet. If Dankula publicly posted it, that's when it became a crime. And even then, like, he wouldn't have gotten a long jail sentence anyway. That's a UK thing. Scotland has its own hate crime laws, which are madness. So, for example, if you say something that stirs up hatred, whatever that means, at, say, your dinner table, in your own home, not publicly, that's a crime. You can do 7 years. If you have an offensive meme on your phone that you haven't even posted, that's 7 years. If you're interested, I'm pretty sure the max sentence for, like, or at least the average sentence for child pornography here is 3 years. So,
yeah, it seems like a mismatch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the possession of offensive memes, the sentence should be 0 years. It shouldn't be a crime.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like I mention that to anyone, and they immediately go, "Oh, go, leave, please." And you see the guy who proposed all these bills, he's now the leader of Scotland. He literally nepotismed his way to leader of the country because he has brown skin. And that's not like the conspiracy talking point, it's not conservative talking point, that's literally what he did. He constantly draws attention to the fact that he has brown skin. He has a pretty infamous speech where he just lists every position in government that a white person has and complains about how a white person is in that position. In a country that's 96% white.
Do you have like? I guess I should go look up this speech. That sounds pretty out there.
It shouldn't be particularly hard to find.
Okay.
Literally just look up Hamza Yusuf, a white speech. It's one of his most circulated clips because people really hate him. I'll see if I can find it. It's it shouldn't be hard.
Okay.
I love how if you look at Hamza Yusuf White, it comes up with tons of different examples of him complaining about white people. Oh, you've got the time he claimed the nursery discriminated against his daughter for having a Muslim name, despite the fact that they really rejected him because he applied for a nursery in an area really far away from him.
Wait, did he go on Jordan Peterson's podcast last year?
I don't think he did.
Oh no, sorry, it's a different guy named
99%
Hamza
of the
Yusuf.
meetings I go to, I'm the only
I
non-white
find it.
person in the room.
Yeah, so the nursery incident, if anyone's wondering, what he did was, so he's, I want to say he's the MP in Glasgow, or it was Edinburgh, it's one of the two. And he applied for a nursery in Broughty Ferry, which is that's at least an hour away from those two. So they rejected his daughter from that for obvious reasons of, we only have so many spaces, we're not giving a space to a guy who lives an hour away. And he then went into the media and just started slandering this nursery, claiming they rejected my daughter because she has a Muslim name, which is not the case. And what a lot of people believe, and I believe as well, I made it pretty clear this is what he did, is he just went around applying for every nursery, trying to find one that would reject him so he can make a media storm about it, because this is what this guy does. But there's your
Yeah.
white people speech. Yeah, he quite literally did that. Like, bruv, you live in a country that's 96% white. Move if you don't like it. And the comparison's already been made, but you go to Zimbabwe, or bad example, Kenya, and
You
complain-
could say go to Japan
Japan, yeah.
and make the same speech.
Go to Japan and complain about how there's too many Japanese people. Go to Kenya and complain about there's too many Africans. Like, it's, if you do it with any other race, it sounds way worse. And actually, then it does it him, because the media just lets him off with this shit.
Well, and this is the thing, right? Like, I do think some degree of sort of like thought and understanding of minority populations is good. But again, I wouldn't go and make this speech in front of like the Diet in Japan and be like, why aren't more of you white? Why aren't more of you black? It's kind of like, well,
No, the Scottish Parliament already focuses way too much on minorities when they don't even make up 5% of the population. They're 4. It's a tiny.
yeah, I didn't actually realize that Scotland was that homogeneous.
There's a very simple reason why. Any immigrants who come here from, say, the thing is, the ones who come across the French border, they end up in England, so they just stay there. Any immigrants who come across and end up here, they get here, they end up usually in Glasgow or Edinburgh. Some in Dundee, but there's not a huge population of them in Dundee. They get here,
they'll last a year at most, and they'll realize, holy fuck, this country fucking sucks, and they move down to England. That's not even hyperbole. That's really what happens. Is immigrants get here, realize this country sucks, and leaves. That's the only reason we have stayed at 96%. Though, to be fair, it's a misleading statistic. Our what's it called? I'm blank on the word. Fuck, I don't care. It's misleading, the statistic, because it says it's 96% white, right? But it doesn't consider how what percentage is Scottish. Because most of our immigrants who stay here are Polish, who get put down as white. So in reality, how the percentage that's Scottish, it's different to the percentage that's white. It's probably quite different. In fact, we have like police cars, at least in my area, have the word police in Polish as well as English on the cars, because there's a sizable enough Polish population. If you want my estimate, I'd say probably I'd say maybe 85% Scottish. That's a fair estimate, I'd say. And that extra percentage that they're talking about, mostly Polish. I don't know if Romanians get put down as white, but there's quite a few Romanians as well. A lot of Eastern Europeans. Mostly Poles. But that's the issue with our census, is that it's the whole breaking it down by race is, while useful, is also misleading. You need to get ethnic and race statistics, not one. Though I mean, ethnic probably is easier to use overall, because you can kind of determine who's who just based on their ethnicity. But yeah, it's easier with the even then, like if Japan did it, because you could have it say, oh, we're 95% Asian, and then half of those turn out to be Chinese. Like it's.
Oh, wait, I mean, Japan, if I remember correctly, right now like if you want to do the Asian, it would be like 99.99% Asian or something.
Oh yeah,
its immigrant population is minuscule, and the immigrant population is like, it's like primarily Asian. So
yeah. So I mean, apparently the two phenotypes of Japanese people, like the other half are like Korean, really. So you can confirm this or not, but this is just from reading when I'm on threads about Japanese wrestling, right? So apparently there's like two phenotypes of Japanese males. There's one that's like quite strong faced, think like a lot of the characters from Seven Samurai, bearded, very strong faces. I would say they are quite broad in the face. And the other half, look, they're not able to grow a beard quite. How would I put it? Young looking, and apparently those I've heard them get described as gookish looking. Not my words, someone else's. And apparently those are quite a lot of Korean immigrants came over, and that created that phenotype, and everyone's kind of in the middle, so everyone's somewhere in between these, and that's why so many Japanese men are unable to grow beards or good beards. I mean, the meme for a while about Sanada, the wrestler in New Japan, was that his gimmick is that he's the only Japanese person who can grow a beard, which he doesn't even have anymore after he became successful. But you can tell me this is completely wrong, but I just saw that someone was talking about that, because they were saying what's his name, Shingo Takagi. It's like the first kind. He's quite strong in the face. I think he can grow a bit of a beard, or at least as far as we've seen. And then like Kota Ibushi is like the other kind.
I mean, all I can say is
If I had
that
if I had the
that
diagram, I could send it.
this is sort of feeling a little bit like the World War II U.S. Army, like how to tell the Japs from the Chinese, like pamphlets that were coming out, where they were like, look at their cheekbones, and so, honestly, I have not done any kind of phenotypical analysis of like the true-blooded Japanese facial features versus like
I haven't even.
as far as I'm aware, for
Listen,
people that don't believe the emperor like plunged a spear into like the water and like created the island. For the people that don't go into like Japanese nationalist creation myths, the general idea is that the Japanese people came like from the Korean Peninsula. So, that said, I do know that. Yeah, so I don't really have much to talk about on like phenotypical things.
yeah,
There's a large portion of the population that are descended from more modern Korean people that were part of like the Japanese empire back when it was an empire, and then rather than choosing to be repatriated to Korea, stayed in Japan, but they didn't get full Japanese citizenship. They got in this weird like permanent visa and visas for your children in a semi-citizenship situation thing.
yeah, that's what Chinese people claiming that the second type. That's where they came from.
Yeah, and there's
These
a
are your
lot of
average discussions that go on about Japanese wrestling. Is what phenotype are insert wrestler here?
Yeah, and I'm not like if you ask, the thing is like there is like a usually low key and sometimes not low key racism against these people, and then there's also sort of, I'd say, among the the Korean ancestry people within Japan, sometimes there's people who have reactions to the perceived racism against them. It's a thing, right? If you're talking about the homogeneity of Japan, then this is obviously one of those things where Japan is not as homogeneous as a lot of people think. But like I've never had that moment where I was measuring the skull bumps and the ridges of the cheekbones with my eyes, and I was like, yes, clearly this man, his parents were taken from the colonies in Manchuria. Like, but then again, maybe I'm not going to speak on the phenotypes of the facial features. Was not expecting the conversation to go in that direction, but it is a thing that I think a lot of people.
I think the funniest part is that most of the people who I've seen talk about this, like in relation to Japanese wrestling, most likely are white Americans.
Probably.
Which I think is the funniest part is, like, yeah, they're going, oh, well Shingo Takagi absolutely phenotype 1. It's like, bruv, you live in Michigan. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I mean, this does also remind me of, I remember when I came to Japan, one of the big things that was a big hubbub in Japan was Mongolian, born sumo wrestlers just completely dominating in the sumo circuit, right?
I mean, it could be worse. It could have been Samoan.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, though, is there was one guy that was really famous, Asashoryu, for just being like a complete beast, right? He was definitely, doing the sort of like Michael Jordan of the time sort of level of dominance, but he was also really hated because he wasn't, doing all of the ritual, polite, societal things that were expected of the Yokozuna, right?
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, in more recent years, there was the Yokozuna who was Mongolian born, but actually did, act the way that you're supposed to act. And they didn't really have a problem with that guy, right? Like you know, obviously there's always that weird. What'd you say?
Do Mongolians have better genetics for like putting on weight then, or?
Or well, I know that Mongolia actually has its own similar to sumo wrestling, like belt wrestling
Right.
traditions.
No, because what I was thinking was the Samoans tend to put on weight really well. Well, not well.
Yeah.
but
Well,
they-
and I mean, if you're a sumo wrestler, then like weight important, obviously, but you do also just need to be like strong.
yeah, of course.
They don't have weight classes, but
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's why so many Samoans end up going to pro wrestling, is they just bulk really easily.
I'd believe that. I'd believe
And-
that. But
Two of them off the top
Yeah.
of my head got fired for not being able to lose weight. That gives you an idea.
oh shit.
Because, funnily enough, Yokozuna, who was a Samoan who was pretending to be Japanese. And,
Yeah, in the WWF,
yeah,
right?
and Rikishi both got fired from the WWF at the time because they couldn't lose weight. But like that's how like The Rock gets so huge, is Samoan genes. That and he's juicing hard.
I'll believe that.
Dwayne
I'll
Johnson,
believe
don't
that.
sue me, but you're juicing. Like the guy's he's in his 50s or something, and he's still like, with the physique he has right now. I mean, there are some guys who are even more blatant than him when it comes to juicing, but he's juicing. Bezos is probably the most blatant right now. He's on some serious HRT, and it's not even subtle. No clue if you paid attention to him at all, but like he got jacked in the last few years. When he's like in his
I have not
40s.
paid attention.
Alright, so in like the last few years or so, he got jacked, and he's like in his 40s, but he had like no prior weight training or anything. So you can get jacked in your 40s, but that's because you have the muscle memory to do so. Bezos did not, and what I've heard most people say is he's on HRT. And yeah, he is. There's no way he isn't. The man either has superhuman genetics when it comes to aging, or he's on HRT, and he's probably juicing as well. Yeah.
Wait, by HRT, do you mean HGH?
Is that what's called when you go on I'm talking about hormone replacement therapy, when you get when you can get more testosterone from that.
Okay, normally my understanding is juicing is using like synthetic testosterone, right?
Yeah.
HRT, I haven't heard used for weightlifting. It's generally for like transitioning.
Yeah,
But
I've heard some people
maybe-
say I've heard people say HRT. I can take a look.
Okay. And I know that HGH is another thing that people oftentimes will take as like an injected thing, either for the bulking, or then also there's like people that have used it as like an anti-aging thing. That's human growth hormone.
Okay, the issue is, right, when I look up for HRT for this, right, it
Yeah.
just comes with transgenders who, okay, yeah, TRT I'm seeing here. Yeah, I've probably just fucked up my what term I was using.
Yeah, there might be some people that refer to like juicing as HRT or something, but
Yeah.
it's not the standard usage as far
Yeah,
as more.
all I'm finding is just stuff about trans.
Well, wait, don't. It's just transgender people, man. Come on.
Look, like they can work out and all. I don't care. But yeah, no, it's more or less just not helpful for my question.
Yeah, but he probably is using some kind of chemical enhancements. I mean, we're talking about a dude that had some kind of historical landmark bridge disassembled, so his super yacht could like sail through Denmark or whatever. The dude is just used to having money and access to whatever he wants and doing whatever he needs to do to get what he wants. So
Yeah,
If he wanted to get jacked, he definitely would be.
Yeah, the man has the money that he can do it, no issue.
Yeah.
Same thing with The Rock. Like, yeah, he has the money that he can absolutely do it. I mean, he's been doing it for so long because the WWE will have him do it. So yeah, it's like, no shit, he's juicing.
Well, I think it's not just money, but it's like money and the clout that minor crimes don't get. You don't get nailed to the wall like a peon like you or me would, right? Like if I got caught with illicit pharmaceuticals, it's going to be a problem, right?
Yeah.
But justice does not come for the rich.
So something I do think is really funny about Dwayne is the cope loads of Americans have when. Like, if you go ask Americans who they think the most famous person in the world is, so many of them will say The Rock. No, he's not.
What?
He's not. There's like alive celebrities right now. So there are Americans who will tell you it's The Rock. And like, yeah, he's probably up there. He's a pretty famous name, but like who do you think it is?
The most famous American?
No, so just celebrity in general.
Celebrity?
Yeah.
Not The Rock. I mean, I'd probably say Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
Is
well off. I can tell you who I don't have a statistic here, but I can tell you who I think it definitely is, right? So the issue is you're thinking America. I'm thinking worldwide. It's either Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. Without doubt.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Sorry. I was thinking like celebrity in terms of media.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking, definitely. I should have been thinking like football players.
Yeah.
In the European sense of the word.
That's what I think is funny about Americans, right? Is like so many of them just well, how would I put it? They just don't acknowledge football at all. Like they just look down on it. It's like. The Rock ain't the most famous. None of your fucking Hollywood celebrities are. Because the thing is, like Messi, for example, very famous in Europe. Most Americans could tell you the name Lionel Messi. Massive in South America.
Yeah, in South and Central America, exactly.
He's still known in Africa because they still play football there. China, parts of Asia still have bits of football. I mean, Turkey still has quite a bit, so bits of Asia still have that. I mean, Japan's football team did pretty well in the World Cup last year. I mean, so you have that. So I think it's popular. I don't know what its popularity is like in Oceania. They'll know who he is at least. Same thing with Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Like I would doubt more popular than The Rock was. Go to Africa and ask them who Dwayne Johnson is. And
well, I'll agree with you that definitely Messi beats.
And also just how many kids are wearing, like how many just kids around the world are wearing shirts with The Rock on it.
Yeah.
Like even I own 2 football shirts. Don't even have Messi on it, but still, like that's one of the other advantages of football shirts. It's just the names on the back. But at the same time, besides Messi and Ronaldo, I don't know how many Americans could actually name football players. They seem to just look down the sport. Like, how many football players do you think you could name just off the top of your head? Just curious.
How many? What? I literally never watched football, so give me a second. Obviously,
America.
Messi, you've got Ronaldo, Beckham, even though he doesn't play anymore.
He did play in America for a wee bit.
What'd you say?
He played in America for a wee bit because he was at LA Galaxy.
Oh, okay. And then, Pele was obviously famous back in the day.
Pele, but...
sorry.
it's
exactly.
Fine, yeah.
So yeah, like that's there might be other names where somebody could say it to me and I'd be like, oh yeah, that guy.
Maradona?
Nope.
He's also considered one of the best of all time as well as Pele.
Okay, like I don't.
Yeah. I was just curious.
Like,
That's all.
I don't think I've.
Average
I can't
American.
even remember the last time I watched a football match. Like,
Yeah,
and
that's fair enough.
this is like me preferring American sports over other sports. Like, as far as American sports go, like, I've never watched an American football match, so I know who Tom Brady is because, like,
South Park.
he won the Super Bowl constantly
I know
or
about him from
something.
South
Like,
Park.
huh?
I know about him from South Park, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
right.
there's a joke about how he's Cartman's hero, and Cartman wants to go like Tom Brady. He wants to ignore the rules and then go fuck his wife, who looks like a dude.
So yeah, I hear a few names of sports people at that level of famousness, but
I just think
That's
I just
not
think how Americans look at it's funny. That's all. Have you
Well,
seen?
yeah,
have you
I
ever
mean-
seen the Simpsons bit where it's there's a Simpsons bit where the football comes to Springfield, and it's Mexico versus who's the other team? I want to say it's like the Netherlands or something. And it might be another Latin America country actually.
yeah,
And like all the players have like the same sounding name of like Mexican names.
yeah.
And like the whole thing is like the crowd are cheering to begin with, and then all the Americans realize, oh, they're just kicking it back and forth to each other in their own half, and they're just so bored. And it's like the American commentators going, and he kicks it back to midfield, back to defense, back to midfield, left wing, and it's like it sounds bored. And then you've got this like Mexican commentators going, back to left wing, defense, and it's like that, and it's the complete difference is like astounding. Because
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I love the fact that like, well, I don't get about American sports, like, right, so you see with basketball, right, if you get like a slam dunk, that's like 2 points, or is it 3? It's something like that.
It's 2 points for a slam dunk.
And it's like, why?
3 points is when you
Yeah,
are
outside, yeah.
far away from it.
Yeah, it's like, why is it not 1? And it's quite literally
Good
just
question, friend.
and it's quite literally because Americans have small brains and they need to have high score.
Yeah.
That's the complaint I hear the most. The scores aren't high enough.
I'll believe that. Oh, what was I?
Also, just the American Football Association is fucking dreadful. I mean,
The
everyone.
what association?
So every country has their own football association,
Yeah.
and the American one is one of the worst. Like without a doubt, so they had a huge thing go over during the World Cup. It was around the World Cup. That was just a fucking mess. It was quite literally like, you know how you get like American soccer moms? It was like, take that to the worst extent you could. And that's what we had happen. As essentially the manager of the US team, I want to say his name is Greg Baumhauser, I think his name is. He was not playing one of America's most talented players called Gio Reyna. He was putting him on the bench, right? And Gio Reyna's mother wasn't very happy about this. And the Reyna family and the Baumhauser family are like old friends. And then out of nowhere it comes out that like 30 years ago Greg Baumhauser hit his wife once and he got over it and it was a nothing. And the question then became, who the fuck knows that he did that and was trying to get and leaked it to try and get him fired? It was Gio Reyna's mother who leaked it. Baumhauser did this to try to get him fired so her son would get more game time. And she has admitted she did this.
Sort of bullshit, man. Or not sort of. That's bullshit.
To
Just straight up bullshit.
be fair, Baumhauser should be fired. He's a fucking terrible manager for their team. But, well, coach, yeah, he's absolutely incompetent. But he should not be fired for this reason. And it's a mess.
But I think this is we're going to a good cutoff point of American bias in sports. I agree.
You'll probably hear if we ever have Camembert run on, they'll probably be even worse. Me and him will probably end up just talking about football. His team lost today,
Oh, really?
so he's not happy. Basically, all you need to know is that Manchester United and Manchester City are like arch rivals. And like 2 decades ago, Man United won the treble, which is winning the League Cup, the FA Cup, and the Champions League, all in the same season. And no one's done it since, or before. It's only United have ever done it once. And Manchester City have won the League Cup. They were playing Man United in the FA Cup final today, and they won, which means they just need to win the Champions League final in like a week or so. And they're about to destroy United's golden goose. And he's not happy. And I was watching that and I wasn't happy either, because I'm not a United supporter, but I fucking hate Man City with a passion. Because we've been having an issue of Saudi investors coming in with their blood money and just buying all the best players for their team. And it's kind of shit. And that's what Manchester City is. They just spend ridiculous amounts of money on tons of the best players because they can, because they have Saudi blood money. And I hate all the teams who are like that. And yeah, they're about to do it, and he's not happy at all. If you're listening to this, remember, I'm sorry this happened to you. I watched the last 10 minutes, it hurt.
Hearts go out to our friend Kevin Fairrun,
Yeah.
who was savagely wounded when watching.
He didn't even watch it.
Oh,
Yeah, I think he saw the highlights. I think he mentioned he didn't even watch it. I only saw the last 10 minutes because most of it was on while I was working. So I got home and I was just like, oh fuck, I'll watch the last 10 minutes, and yeah, it was not a pleasant watch. It quite literally was just, I realised, like, the moment I sat down and started watching, I realised, oh fuck, they were 2-1 up, and there was 10 minutes left and United needed to get a goal, and it was becoming painfully more obvious, they're not going to score. It's over. Fuck. And how will I put it? They're going to win the Champions League final and do the treble. The team they're playing against in the final is Inter Milan, who are not good enough to beat them. So yeah, it's not, hearts out to Camembert. Poor bastard. Luckily they're not my team, so I'm fine.
he survived without
Yeah.
without getting the butt hurt.
Yeah, well my team is in the Scottish League, and no Scottish team is ever winning the Champions League ever again, so there is no treble.
Oh, really? Is that how it is?
Well, yeah, so we have 2 teams who are the best in Scotland, and they'd get demolished in England's top league. They'd probably get demolished in England's second league. They'd probably be alright in England's third league, if that gives you an idea of the difference. So when they play in the Champions League, which is like all the best European teams, they just get smashed every time. But you get good money for appearing there. And so what it means is that these 2 teams who are the best get money for appearing on those Champions League games where they get smashed. And they still have more money than everyone else because they're doing this, and it's just a cycle of it never ending. And the worst part is the team I support are that they're the 3rd place team. They're the number 1 in the gap. They're the one right at the top who can just see that huge gap between everyone else in the top 2. Which is like, for example, like in the league table for the last season, 40-point difference between the team in 1st and the team in 3rd. It's massive. And it's never gonna end.
Yeah.
I mean, I did it in FIFA, but it's never happened in real life. Unless, yeah, some Saudi comes in and invests money, which they're not going to because there's no money to make in the Scottish League. Which is
Nice actually for the Scottish League to, if you guys manage to pull through and start kicking ass. I'd enjoy that. I'd enjoy that.
it's
I gotta
never
admit.
happened. It's literally been like this since I was a kid. It's actually been like this since, like the 90s, maybe even later. I think it might be even later. I was talking to homie about this, and I quite literally just read out every team who, like, from this year to going back every year, and just read out the team that won. And quite literally how it went was Celtic, Rangers, Celtic, Rangers, Celtic. Like, that's what it was. If that gives you an idea.
Two-party system.
It's the American politics. The Scottish League is American politics in a nutshell.
Oh god.
Two teams with way more money than everyone else, who no one else can cope against. It's a disaster. Personally, I'm for our association just coming in and just saying, alright, we're putting restrictions on you two because no one else can play against you right now because you're too good. So
Why would they just get... It'd be hilarious if they just graduated them, like, out of the Scottish League. Like you guys get to play with England or something.
Yeah,
like,
well,
let the other guys have a
that
fucking
happens.
chance.
So
Okay.
there's Welsh teams who play in England. Like, basically any team that does even slightly well in Wales goes and plays in England. But that's the issue, right? Is so you see, I said that both those top two teams will go play in the Champions League, right? Which is the one in
Yeah.
Europe. So whoever wins the league in Scotland goes and plays in the Champions League. If they go move to England, they'll go like first division or something, which is the third division in reality, because it goes like second, first, Championship, Premier League. The
Okay.
only way you get in the Champions League is being top of the Premier League in England, which means they lose European football if they go to England, so they have no reason to. So unless they were told you are going to England, they won't. Like, it could be proposed to them as many times as you fucking want. They're not gonna go. Which is the
Okay,
issue.
they need to get, like, booted out. Oh, that makes sense.
So yeah, quite literally, they'd either have to be told you're leaving, or they'd have to take European football out of Scotland, which essentially just would turn us into a factory for making teams for England, which we don't want. We just want it to be a bit more fair. So, like, yeah, my idea is just put caps on the wages that they can have in the league, at least for now. So it means they can't sign all the best players because they can't fucking pay them a wage they'd want. Or have a spending limit or something like that. Because, yeah, like, something needs to happen because it's fucking ridiculous right now. So it's basically like, you know how in American politics like this, you can only donate so much to parties and stuff like that, right? Imagine if you took all those restrictions off. That's Scottish football.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's
So yeah, you have two teams who have significantly more money than everyone else,
yeah.
destroying them. Like, if you need an idea of the difference, right? So in FIFA, like, teams will have a star rating based on how good their players are. Rangers are, it's at 5 stars. Rangers are 3.5 stars. Celtic are 3.5 stars. The team in third place, Aberdeen, are 2 stars.
Okay, so it's just yeah.
It's not even
Yeah.
close, yeah. Yeah, like, to actually win the league in FIFA with Aberdeen, you basically have to spend, you either have to get very lucky, or you have to, you can't even just sign good players, you have to just use your youth academy to get good players. Like, so, about half the good players I got to do that, you either have to do it through loans from other clubs who will say, hey, you can have this guy for a season to get him game time, or youth academy players.
you can't sign good players because you have no money. It's yeah. So that's how long have we been going? Fucking hell, we've been nearly going 4 hours. Time to. My Wi-Fi's getting buried tomorrow. Actually, no, I
Yeah, yeah. So, I guess we should sort of... Wait, I guess we're not... Are we doing Astros anymore?
let's go for it. I love how Homie said, "Oh, you should reduce the length of the episodes."
Yeah, we sort of fucked that up this time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll do shorter ones next time. So, for anybody that's been through, it's been a pleasure to have you here for the No Society podcast. We look forward to having you back again for another spirited discussion about video games. Just whatever the hell we think about in the moment. And occasionally politics when it isn't too depressing. Thanks for coming in. It always is. Thanks for coming, and we look forward to having you again. This has been Anderfield and Alistair.
Alright.